Oh, yeah. I am awake and alive.
I'm so great I gotta say it twice and cut it out once. My head's a syrup bottle that's getting tipped over every Wednesday. You're a storyteller in a storytelling podcast, and the only story you're telling now is a story about stories you don't want to tell! What the fuck? Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. And yes, folks, I think it's pretty obvious to all of you out there right now, I love my voice right now. Like, I won't even, I'm sitting here and I've been talking to Lily, and it's been this voice, and I'm like, I need to drink some water. And then I'm like, I can't drink any water. I might wash away this awesome voice. I don't know what kind of moss I got growing on my vocal cords right now, but holy shit, I need to keep it. You know what? Let's send this show out right now as a voiceover audition tape. Somebody hire me. This is the voice of Acura. Somebody get me an Acura ad. I should be able to go. I'm trying to think. Well, look, I can't write the copy. I'm not Mad Men, folks. I was just about to on the fly do an Acura ad, but I can't be expected to do that sort of thing. I'm the guy with the voice. Listen to the talent. Listen to the golden throat. Listen to the dulcet tones. Holy shit! I should vomit up a jar of honey. That's how fucking great I sound right now. Hi, how you guys doing? I'm good. I have a great voice. People have written me and they're like, you should film the show. Who was that? What was a few people have written me, actually. Oh, and by the way, speaking of people writing me, let's get this out of the way. Hey, everyone who wrote me angry. I was kidding last week when I said I was going to play a rerun of the Father's Day show. And as I was doing it, Lily kept saying to me, she goes, people are going to be pissed off at you for this. And I go, no, they're not really. I go, come on, people get it, right? They listen to the show. They know. Yeah, no, there's a lot of you out there who don't get it. And who would have much rather heard the rerun. But true, seriously, God's truth, I did plan on doing a rerun. I walked in here and told Lily, oh man, I got nothing. I just, there's no way I can do this. And then she held up the legal pad and it's like 45 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck? Really? Honestly? And I go, well, I might as well just finish this thing off. I haven't even talked about Van Halen yet, for fuck's sake. So I wound up just doing a regular show. And then I thought it would be funny at the end to say that silly thing about, well, here comes the Father's Day episode. I had people writing me, like that day, like on Thursday, people wrote me because I was on the road. I was in Kansas City, and people are writing me, and I'm reading the emails, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, I got to apologize to fucking everybody, really? And then my buddy Mark texted me. Pilot Mark, who listens to the show and has donated, and who I went to high school with, who I tricked into giving me his stuff because I was Mav Weba. Nobody remembers? All right. Pilot Mark, who loaned me money when I spent all my money out of my mom's bank account, and then I had to pose as a guy from UNICEF. Come on, buy year one. What's wrong with you people? Why are you so far behind? There's 4 years of this fucking show for you to buy. And let me tell you, there's plenty of it stacked up in my rental space. I have a rental space, folks, that is stacked to the ceiling with year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4 because nobody is taking them off my hands. Feel free to buy them because I've got them available for you. So yeah, Pilot Mark sends me a text and he's like, hey, I don't want to be this guy, but I'm listening and you mentioned the rerun of the show and I'm like, I wrote him and I go, yeah, that was a goof. Like I literally did plan on doing a rerun, but then changed midstream and then we thought it would be funny to put that at the end. And he's like, oh, I feel like an idiot. He goes, now I got to go to my podcast cemetery and dig that out because I really wanted to hear it. And I'm like, wow, here I thought I was being funny like in my show and then being silly at the end. No, everybody's like, nah, we would have rather heard that than hear you waxing rhapsodic about whatever the fuck bullshit I talked about last week. I don't remember, was last week Bomb Pop and Chinese Rick? I don't remember what last week was. Last week was funny, I know that. I was like, because I left the show last week and put up on the Van Halen show. All right, well, yeah, but all the shit before that, I forget what I was talking about. I don't know. Oh, I was talking about not getting jobs. Oh, that's another thing. By the way, I mentioned last week, I'll vaguely tell you about this. I said there's one guy in this business who thinks I'm funny, and he called me to get me to work on like a pilot presentation or whatever. So I was excited. So he and I exchanged back and forth voicemails and emails, because again, I have a graveyard schedule, so I have to call the guy and go, look, you need to tell me what time to be awake by a phone, because otherwise you're never going to get a hold of me unless you want to call me at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. So we went back and forth, and he told me about his pitch and when his meeting was, and I said, great, man, I can handle that. And how do I want to tiptoe around this because I want to tell you what it was, but I can't tell you what it was. All right, let's suffice to say, I'll say this. I was going to do it because I really want to have a job writing in show business, but it would have been something I would have hated. Like, I would have absolutely hated to do it, but I didn't give a fuck because I can do it and I would have made it work. But it would have been, if you know anything about me, you know there are things that I hate. All right. Imagine if one of the things that I hate was went ahead and said, "Hey, come on board," and then I had to. All right. I can't tell you any more than that. This also, by the way, people wrote me and they're like, "What happened with that baseball bat, dude? I need to know what happened with that baseball bat." So I still owe you people emails because I was busy explaining to other people why I didn't do the rerun. So I will get to you baseball bat people shortly, and I will explain to you exactly what happened. But I had to, in Kansas City, people came up to me and said, "Look, I need to know what happened with the baseball bat." So I had to actually physically, dude, a hotel desk clerk in Kansas City who doesn't even listen to the show said, "Hey, I understand you know something about what happened to the baseball bat in a bowling alley." And I said, "Yes, prepare yourself and sit down." So, actually, you know what? I don't even think I said baseball bat on the show. I think I just said bowling alley, and I couldn't say what the story was. Well, now you know now you know a component. I told people in Kansas City. Yeah, absolutely. I told people who asked.
Apologies.
Yeah, sorry. But people who sent me emails, I did not answer them yet. But I will, folks. You're all on the docket. You're all on the agenda to get your answers. But I'm sorry. I was very busy typing out apologies to people who really wanted to hear some old stuff. So what was I just saying? I was saying something just now, a second ago.
About the job you didn't want.
Oh, yeah. So imagine, all right, you know me, folks, and you know that there are certain things that I hate. So I that's the job. That's the thing. It's something to be involved with that. So I talked to my buddy this week, the guy who thinks I'm funny, and he's like, "All right, here's what we need." I said, "Fantastic." I go, "When do you need it?" He goes, "I need it by the Thursday morning." I said, "Fantastic. I can do that." I didn't say fantastic extended like that. I said, "Fine." Literally, I was going to say fine right there, and my mouth went to fantastic, and that's why I drew out the A, because my brain went, "Why are you not saying fine?" So, because I was going to go, I said, fantastic. I was, what? What's wrong with your head and your mouth? Get them together. My head and my mouth need a summit meeting. Where can we go? Reykjavik. Why not? I understand Reykjavik does good summits. Or perhaps Dayton, Ohio. I was in Dayton, Ohio during a summit meeting between, who the fuck was it? It was 95, so it had to be Clinton and Gorbachev, maybe? I don't know. Who knows? It's 95. No, it can't be Gorbachev. It's Yeltsin. It was Clinton and Yeltsin were in Dayton, Ohio. And I was there at the Funny Bone. So, or no, I was at no, I wasn't at Wiley's. I was at Lisa Grigsby's show. What the fuck was the name of that club in Dayton? Jokers. I was at Jokers. That was the week I got fired. It's in year one, folks. Buy it. That was the Schlep Rock week when I broke a bunch of shit. Yeah, when I was on a hotel balcony. Who cares? Why am I just recounting all these things? If you're new, buy year one, because you'll hear the story about when I was in a hotel with my comedian friends, and I was like, anarchy! And I destroyed like a hotel balcony. I just started throwing all the patio furniture off of the balcony because we thought it was funny. And we were like, that was hilarious. Is that thing where you're like, oh, my key's gone. Like my room key was gone. So I had to go downstairs in the dark and search through the fucking back. It's bad. Just bad. And then I got fired later. Who cares? But that was where there was a summit. So perhaps my brain and my mouth need to go to Dayton and have a summit there. And there I saw the B-2 bomber, the B-12. Is that which is the one that looks like the bat plane? Holy fuck, was that scary as hell. Dude, I'm not going to lie to you. Because they always say, like, remember in the old days when they just painted like a shark face on a plane and that was supposed to scare people? And then people were just like, well, I know that's not a flying shark, whatever, bullshit. Although they didn't, but see, that was the thing. It tricked people because they painted the face on the plane and people were like, flying shark. And they were horrified. But then eventually people went, fuck that. That's not a flying shark. That's bullshit. And then they would drop a bomb on them. So they would go, see, you thought it was a flying shark and now you're not scared? Suck on this bomb. And they would drop a bomb right on their head. An individual bomb. That's why the war lasted so long. I don't know why they didn't build bigger bombs. They just tried to go, they just dropped individual bombs on people on the street. Just carpet bomb. Just drop one big bomb and kill a bunch of people. That's why they finally ended the war. They invented the atom bomb. They were like, oh my God, finally, a bomb that kills a bunch of people at once. We've been filling our planes with bombs the size of lifesavers. What is wrong with us? And individually seeking out people to bomb. You can't bomb individual people. That war's going to take fucking forever. Get one bomb that kills everyone at once. And then finally they did it. Thanks to Harry Truman and his team of the Super Friends, they invented a bomb and then they put it on a plane. By the way, I have to tell you, the Comedy Film Nerds book came out. It is available at the Comedy Film Nerds website. It is also available at Amazon. I wrote in it. I wrote 2 chapters, and I have to share with you because since we're talking about bombs in Japan. Here's my favorite line. I wrote the sports chapter, and at the end of it, you had to write the 10 best sports movies and the 10 worst sports movies. And in the list of the 10 worst sports movies, I have The Bad News Bears Go to Japan. And my comment was, so bad, I think the Enola Gay dropped them there. If that doesn't make you buy the book, fuck you. I don't know why you wouldn't buy the book. Look at that genius that's in the book. That's one line. That's just one line. I wrote 2 chapters. That's one line that right now, and you're not even listening to this because you're still laughing at it. That's how good it is. That's how good that line is. You're still cracking up. I actually forgot I wrote that line, and then I got the book and flipped through it, and I saw that line, and I went, who's this genius? Oh, me. Hi, me. I had reflected, my genius was reflected back to me into a book when I could have just looked into a mirror. So we're what the fuck? My mouth and my head are having a summit meeting for some reason. They were going to Dayton and then to Reykjavik, but there was a thing I was saying. So this job. Fine. So we have to thank God my brain has straightened that out. My brain and my mouth, actually, they've had their summit meeting. While I was doing all this nonsense, it was to cover for the fact that my mouth and my brain were having a meeting, and they seem to be on the. Well, I just punched the mic. That was weird. Folks, I gesture wildly when I'm talking. You don't realize this. Whenever you hear this show, you probably think that I'm just like laying down, like, calm in boxers. Lily's naked. Yeah, I'm in a couch. Lily's nude. No, incorrect, folks. I am gesticulating wildly. I am Howard Beale. I am in a trench coat. I am standing up and walking all over Lily's apartment. Oh, Lily dressed up like Mrs. Hotchkiss, taking some fucking some dictation. Lily's taking dictation at all times, folks. So... What now? There was something, right? Oh, the job. God damn it. So there was folks, you know what? We're just going to do a rerun. Here comes a rerun. It is a fantastic rerun. Everybody was so happy last week waiting for the rerun to kick in because they loved that particular show. And then it went nowhere. Instead, it was me yammering about losing jobs. But now, luckily, there's this week where I don't have to talk about that. Or do I? So I get everything straightened out. He tells me what he needs. He tells me when he needs it. By Thursday, I said fantastic. Or no, I said fine. God damn it. My summit meeting, why didn't they agree? Brain and mouth, you just had an agreement. I just filled a ton of time while you came to an agreement to just say fine instead of fantastic. What the fuck? And you know what? There's something here. Why am I using my mouth to yell at my mouth? That doesn't seem to make any sense at all, right? Damn it. And you want me to punch myself in the head?
Punch yourself in the head so it starts listening.
Yeah, no. I've done enough abuse. I think that's one of the reasons why my head doesn't listen to me anymore, because I've punched myself in the head. I actually punched myself in the you know what? By year 2, folks. Was it year 2 that I jacked myself in the face once? Once we were talking, and I know I headbutted the wall real hard while I was talking. It was with the clown table. That was the art table. And then another time, that was year 1 because we were in the condo. And it was weird. I was like a record that kept skipping. Like I couldn't fucking figure out what to talk about. I was fried. And so I eventually just punched myself in the face. And Lily's like, what the fuck? Like that. And she almost bailed. Almost. She was ready to bail on me, but then she was like, oh my God, I'm getting a divorce. I need to have some sort of male presence in my life. And I said, okay, I'll stick around. Why not? Because she enjoys my musk. All right, folks. So that's the only reason I come over here every week. I was going to end this show after year 2. Year 1, quite frankly. But then she's like, yo, I need your manly musk around me at all times. And I said, done. That I can do. And it's not even like an effort. Like if I just show up, my manly musk is there with me. It's not like I got to carry it around. It's not like I got a special briefcase or a pouch full of manly musk. Nope. It's around me like a pig pen force field, buddy. You can actually see it. If you put on special glasses, you can actually see my force field of manly musk. Instead of 3D, it's 2M. Instead of 3D glasses, you put on your 2M glasses and you see my manly musk. They're available right now. If you go to Maxim magazine, I think you can tear them out. It's like back around page 80, you just tear out the Maxim. Actually, it's 3Ms. I got to be honest, it's Maxim's manly musk. Bullshit, it's 4Ms. It's Mike's manly musk from Maxim. There you go. Yeah, it's fuck 3D. We go 4M. Mike's manly musk in Maxim. Tear out the glasses and then look at me, and it's just this force field, this aura. It's like this stink cloud of fucking testosterone and overwhelming sexiness. That seems like the wrong word. That seems like a word I should not use. Overwhelming sexiness. But who am I to argue with fact? I can't argue with fact, folks. My brain and my mouth are already arguing amongst one another. I can't be taking on facts at the same time. It's just, it happens. I walk in and ladies hit their knees. It has to happen. 4M. Ladies don't even know why. I'm a human swoon machine. They have no idea why. I walk in and ladies sway. They just sway and get moist. I'm an automatic moistener, folks. I'm like a human spray bottle. I walk in, everything gets fucking misted and wet. All right. That seems like I'm reaching, but trust me, it's true. I've lived this life. So, and you know what is the key to it? This voice. Oh my God, listen to this voice. Holy good Christ. It sounds like I blew Robert Mitchum for a year. That's how tough and awesome this voice is. It sounds like, literally, it sounds like I'm fucking Sam Elliott in the ass. That's how great my voice is right now. Jesus. Beef, it's what's for dinner. God damn it. That's great. All right, so what the fuck's I talking about? Something.
The new job.
Folks, my new job, my new gig. So Thursday morning, that's well, you're listening to it on Thursday morning, but it's Wednesday, so I still have all night tonight to create this material, because why would I do it yesterday when I knew about it? I have 2 whole days, right? He tells me, he's like, yeah, when do you want, because he actually gave me the choice. He's like, you know what, if you can get it to me tomorrow sometime, or even Thursday by 9 a.m., because the pitch is Thursday. I said, fantastic. How about Thursday at 9 a.m.? He's like, great. Because I knew it bought me an extra day of fucking around and doing nothing. So I said, great, fantastic. We hung up. And he even said to me, he goes, how do you feel about this? He goes, have you ever seen this? Because it's like, when you have to write something, they'll ask you, like they'll say, have you seen 2.5 Men? And you have to go, oh my God, it's brilliant. Even though what you want to say is, if I could show up there with a flamethrower, no one would ever have to experience it ever again in their lives. Because I would actually hunt out the rerun tapes. I would like burn everything to the fucking ground. It would make it my life's mission to go to people's homes and torch them if I thought they possibly had a DVD or a tape of fucking 2.5 Men. And look, if you like it, good for you. I'm not casting aspersions. I'm not judging. It's just when I watch it, it just reeks of old. It just reeks of stale. It just, you know what? Whenever they open their mouths to do a joke, all I hear is the creaking of arthritic hips. That's all I see in that format. It's not for me anymore. I'm not a sitcom dude. I can't. I told you, I used to watch Friends religiously. I watched it all the time. And by religiously, I meant I was molesting a boy whenever I would watch it. That sounds awful religiously. That's just stupid. Who watches it religiously? I would wear clothing all of the same color except for a different color collar, and then I would sacrifice a carpenter. I'd kill a carpenter every time I would watch Friends. I would drive nails into a carpenter's hands whenever I would watch Friends. So I would watch Friends, and now when I turn on a rerun of Friends, I am astonished that I had the patience to ever sit through it. It comes on, and I'm like, and it's me. I've changed. It didn't change. Friends is encased in amber, all right? But I watch it now, and I'm like, I cleared my schedule, man. I would watch it every Thursday night. We would watch it. I would watch it for sure. Karen and I always watched it. It's like when I was a kid, not a kid, I was fucking 20. 18? I don't know. 86? What was I, 19? My brother Lenny and I would watch Moonlighting every Tuesday. Every Tuesday. Here's what we would do. He would, because he was working for Little Caesars at the time, and so was I, but I would have Tuesday night off. And then he would come home. He would pick me up. We would order Chinese food. This awesome Chinese food. Oh, it was so good. And then he and I would go to 7-Eleven by my house with the one I inevitably got fired for, but I inevitably got fired from this 7-Eleven for falling asleep by year 1. Again, I have a rental space filled to the brim with all of these these downloads. So Lenny and I would go. We would order Chinese food, but then we would go over to 7-Eleven, and there used to be a baseball game. It was an arcade game, and you could actually hold a lever and swing. All right, there's a pinball game that has actual metal balls and like a big fat wooden bat, and you would try to knock the ball into a hole. That was horrible. This was like a computer game, but you would actually flick a switch and it would like, and you would see a single or a home run. You'd have to tell the fielders what to do. Whatever. We would play a 9-inning game because it was like 50 cents to play an inning. So we would just put in $5 and play an entire game waiting for our Chinese food to be done. It was awesome. And we were the Phillies. I had lineup cards. I would write out. I obsess. I jump into shit. So I was actually going to start keeping like league stats. Like I was like, all right, I'll keep batting averages and all that. And then he's like, I am not that into it. But I'm just waiting for Chinese food. And I'm like, no, dude, awesome, because I love numbers. You know what number I really like? 4. 4M. Mike's Manly Must from Maxim. Folks, so I would play this baseball game, and then we would go home, and me, Lenny, and Mary would watch Moonlighting. There's 3 M's, me, Mary, Moonlighting. and Moo Goo Gai Pan. So that's what we would do, folks. That's 4M that night, too. That's the Chinese food. We ordered Moo Goo Gai Pan, me, Mary, and Moonlighting. And we would watch it over and over. And I loved it. We loved it. And this is, in the 80s when it was on in prime time. And probably 5 years ago, Moonlighting came on, and I tried to watch it. And oh, my Christ, did I hate it. I hated it. And it's just because I hated Mr. Pesto. I still love Bruce Willis. He was awesome in that show. And he and Sybil Shepherd, it was all there. But again, it was that show where eventually they ruined it because they fucked. And then next thing you know, they're dressed up like Shakespeare. I mean, you're like, what the fuck just happened? But that show's not bad. The Taming of the Shrew one is actually pretty good. And then the Big Man on Mulberry Street scene is fucking amazing. God damn, that's amazing. You know what? Fuck it. I love Moonlighting. I take it back. I can't judge it by what I watched 5 years ago. Stupid. I don't remember my point. There was a point to that. Why?
Job. You got a potential job.
Oh yeah, and you got to watch So all right, so this thing. So I hate this thing that they wanted me to be involved in. But so Pat asks me. He's like, so hey, are you familiar with this? Do you know anything about it? And I go, yeah, I do. And he goes, so how do you feel about it? Like, do you think we're on the right track, or how do you fit it? And I literally had to say to him, because I respect Pat. Pat's my friend. I go, Pat, I'm in. I'm on board with this. Whatever you need me to do. But honestly, there is little that I hate more than this thing you're asking me to be involved in. And he's like, what? And I go, yeah, I do. I despise it. I go, I know that seems like strong and a weird word. I go, I find it to be the ruination of everything. I go, I know that sounds stupid. I said, my only hope in getting this show is that I get close enough to do something about it. And I can't, again, I can't tell you what I said to him, because the second I tell you this sentence, you'll go, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. But if you know me and you knew what I was talking about, I guarantee you could say whatever sentence I can't say to you. Like, you would know what it was. And he laughed. He's just like, well, yeah. He goes, you know what? You're not the first person to tell me this. I said, okay. I go, as long as you know. I go, I didn't want to sound like a guy who was shitting on the project. I'm in. And if people want to pay me, I don't give a fuck. Like I said, I'll go on the $20,000 blowjob pyramid. Put me on. I don't care. I need money at this point. And he's like, and I go, without sounding too desperate, you're my friend. I can tell you this. And he's like, dude, I totally understand. So it was great. So I said, good. I'll get this. I'll work this up. I'll take a look. Da da da. And he's like, great. And I hung up and I was like, all right, so now I have a day and a half to create this material, which is fine. I can do that. They've got their pitch on Thursday. I got up the phone with them on Tuesday night. And I said, fine. So let's do it. So I went ahead and I went on the internet to actually check my email and stuff first. And my phone rang. And it was Pat's telling me, hey, they just canceled everything. They canceled the pitch. They canceled the idea. They're not interested. And so we're not going forward. This is 15 minutes after I was like, all right, yeah, I can do this. 15 minutes later, my phone rings. He's like, yeah, this is not happening. And he sent me an email and he's like, yeah, we're out. It's just, and there were many reasons. It's too narrow a window and the syndication reasons and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right, yeah, and the network and, bullshit, all bullshit, the kind of thing you expect to happen. And I almost wanted to say to him, hey, you didn't tell them I was involved, right? Because this is definitely the sort of thing that happens when people find out that I'm involved. The plug gets pulled and everything goes south. I hope to God you didn't make the mistake of uttering my name or even saying 2M or Manly Musk or any of that, because people know exactly who you're talking about. But good for him. He was very nice. Then he's like, look, if you have any shows you want to pitch, by all means, drop them by me. And I'm happy. And I said, yeah, that's cool. Because God knows I'm a fountain of ideas. Hey, here's a show about a guy with an amazing voice. And you have to wear special glasses to see his aura. Now, hear me out. So I almost had a gig for like a week. I thought I had a gig, and then I should tell you this: there's one other guy in town who thinks I'm funny, and he contacted me. Now, all right, let's deal with this for a second, now, folks. My schedule is specious at best. I mean, it's terrible. You know that, right? I have a graveyard life, so I'm up all night, sleep all day. I'm Slaughter. I'm the human Slaughter. So sure enough, this other person contacted me, weirdly enough, the same week. And said, hey, I have a gig that is it's a pilot presentation. It's probably not going to air, but it's for network, and I'm interested in having you pick in your brain and see if you wanted to come on board. And I don't know what you're doing these days. Catch me up on all things Mike. So he's like, I need to talk to you. So I wrote him and said, listen, I have a graveyard existence. Or no, I apologize. I called him and said, I returned his voicemail and said, hey, look, I live upside down. but I'm happy to be available whenever you would need me. If you need me at 11 o'clock a.m., tell me and I'll be awake at 11 o'clock a.m. But unfortunately, I need to know that ahead of time because right now my schedule, I'm trying to get my schedule in a way where I go to bed at 8 a.m. and I wake up at 3. Because normally I would come home and I would have no discipline and then because I need to work out, whatever the fuck, you don't care. I mean, if you're following along, you know. More of a book than a movie. Go back to chapter 2. So I said on his voicemail, I go, look, here's the thing. I'm around, I'd be interested, but I'm up late and I sleep in the daytime. I know it's completely opposite of what you have, but if you contact me and you give me the, you know, what you need from me and pick a time, I'll be ready and we can talk and figure out what we got to do. I said, here's my home number, here's my cell number, here's my my email, mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. And that was it. I didn't hear from him that night. I come home, I go to sleep, I wake up. There's an email from him in my email box, and all it says is, in the header, it says, "This you?" with a question mark. And by the way, the U is just the letter U. So apparently this job is with Prince. But I open it up, and it's blank. It's a blank email. Just in the header, it said, "This you?" Now, you've worked with me at 2 separate jobs. You know my name. You know what I look like. If you went to MikeSchmidtComedy.com, you would see my face. All right, but that's presupposing a ton of detective work on your part. You're very busy with your pilot. I know you have no time to investigate and find out if it's me. So you have to fire off an email that says, "This you." However, here's a clue. Here's a real clue for you about whether or not this is me. Do you remember where you got that email address? Think back. Think of where you originally got that email address to send me that email. Was it possibly on a voicemail that I left you? Because if it's in my voice and it's me leaving the numbers as well as the voicemail and the email address, chances are good this me. I called you, motherfucker, and I left a message with both numbers and my email address in my voice. And I think we've already established there's no mistake in this voice. Again, unless you somehow think the ghost of Barry White somehow called your phone in the middle of having sex with Don LaFontaine, then guess what? This me. So, and look, I maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I think that people should just know things. I don't fucking know. I spelled out my life to you on the voicemail, telling you exactly where I'm at and what I'm doing and how you need to tell me when to call you, and it's all this bullshit. Literally, my life is a 70s spy movie. Like, you have to go to a park and you have to drop, like, I'm the Falcon and the Snowman. You've got to drop the information by a fucking light post, and then I have to find it at night, and it's not good, folks. It's not good. It's as bad as Sean Penn's mustache in that movie. That's my job status and my life status right now. So sure enough, I answer him. I then write him, and I go, "Yes, it's me, and here's my numbers. And again, I live a graveyard life. I know this is a pain in the ass, but if you want to get a hold of me, I need to tell you that you need to tell me exactly when you want to speak to me and what you want to do, and call me, and just letting you know." And I also told him that Wednesdays were bad. I said, because I'm basically sleeping in the daytime, and then I'm incommunicado all night because I'm here doing the podcast. And again, people don't know what a podcast is, but I tell them that. And it's actually funny because I wrote all these things in an email. Like, look, I have a graveyard life. You got to tell me when to schedule. I sleep during the day. I sleep during the night. And Wednesdays are bad. And then I wrote, an ellipses, and I wrote, but other than that, I'm so available, with like 5 O's. And then I said, look, I look forward to hearing from you unless these ridiculous arrangements have put you off. And I sent my name and all my contact information. And he then sent me an email in response to that. And it says, "Is there a time we can talk? I don't care what day or how late." Now, I had basically said that, yes, I'm willing to talk whenever. I'm trying to get away from writing, I have nothing going on in my life. Make plans and I will be there. I don't know how much more clear I need to make it. Wednesday's the only time I can't talk, but I can talk any other time as long as you tell me the time you want to speak. I can't, but then to just hurriedly rush another note, because I wrote, like, it's 2 paragraphs explaining everything about my life, more information than he could have ever fucking wanted in his life. And sure enough, he's just like, hey, can we talk? Is there a time we can talk? I don't know. Can we? Is there? Should we? I firmly served that ball into your court, and you know what you did? You grabbed it and put it in your pocket. That's what you did. You don't return serve. You just take the ball and put it away and wonder why we're not playing anymore. Fuck! So he's like, yeah, I'll talk to you any day, later night. Well, good. I just wanted to write him back and go, fine. Like, I mean, seriously, are we having a contest to see how little words and verbiage we can exchange between one another? So then I called him again, and I'm like, hey, whenever. Or no, I wrote him a bullshit. I wrote him another email, and I'm like, I wrote him this morning, because, I mean, again, this is me hoping to get a job. So I understand that. He's got a job to give. No fucks are given on his end about whether or not I get a hold of him, apparently. So I have to do the work, and I recognize that, okay? And this guy's a friend of mine. I've worked with him many times, but it's just like, I understand you're busy, but Jesus Christ, dude, take a second to tell me when. But again, he's busy, I'm not, so I guess I should be constantly fucking calling. I don't know how it works. So I wrote him an email this morning, and I said, listen, I have a 3:30 to 4 o'clock window today. After that, I'm available after 10 o'clock p.m. That's, and then I'll be around all night after 10 o'clock p.m. tonight. And after that, we'll have to talk about whatever happens tomorrow. So he wrote me an email, and he just said, I will try to get you between 3:30 and 4 today. But if not, I'll call you after 10 o'clock. So I said, great. So I happened to get up a little early at my house. I got up at 2 o'clock, and I called him at 2:15, and he's not there. I got his voicemail, and then I called him again at 3, and he's not there. So I knew then I was going to have to talk to him between 3:30 and 4, which I was trying to avoid because I wanted to get here and get an earlier start on the show. And then I got here, and I waited downstairs, between 3:30 and 4, and he never called. Unless he called my home phone, which would make sense, seeing as I've given him 4 avenues of how to contact me at all times, and why not just limit yourself to the one, hoping that I'll pick up, and then just giving up at that point. He may have just called my home phone. I'm sure he has. I can't wait to get home, and I'm sure there'll be a light blinking right there on my message machine, because that's how it works, folks. When you have a message on a message machine, there's a light blinking. It tells you about it, and I'm going to see it. I'm going to be full of anticipation, and I'm going to walk right up to it, because there's a job on the line here, folks. This is something that I could possibly do, where I don't have to have a graveyard life. I won't have to write long explanatory emails telling people exactly what I need to do to get a hold of them, because normally I'm sleeping when they're awake, and I'm awake when they're fucking sleeping. Maybe I could get an actual job that would put me back into the industry so I can talk to people at real hours of real days and real time, and I wouldn't have to fucking worry about giving them some sort of fucking explicit treasure map of when they could possibly speak to me. I wouldn't have to write them an email that was basically the verbal equivalent of fucking Billy from the Family Circus walking through the yards with that dotted fucking line as he hops fences and jumps around and heads to the treehouse to meet the guy who wants to give him a fucking job writing for his show. Maybe I could go ahead and get a job so I could reach out, and so I'll go home, and I'm going to see my machine blinking with the light right in my face, and that's the grail. That's the holy grail. That's all I'm looking for, is the message from this guy to give me a job on this pilot that's going to launch me back into this fucking industry, folks, and I'm going to get there, I'm going to walk up to that machine, and I'm going to press play, and all it's going to say is, this you?
Girl, you'll meet Joe Fowler.
I fucked it up. It's a Joe Fowler.
Do it.
It's Joe. It's Joel, right?
Joel.
Right.
Girl, you'll meet Joe Fowler soon.
Joel lives in D.C., he's on the prowl for plenty of pussy, and he's gonna take it to the game with the Wizards. The Wizards. He's got season tickets. He keeps writing me letters that are kind of passive-aggressive because he wants to take me out for Thai food. Whoa, Thai food. Thai food. Thai food.
You'll meet Joe Fowler
For
soon.
Thai food. voice still intact, ladies and gentlemen. However long we are into the show, I don't know. I don't keep track of numbers. I mentioned earlier that I like numbers, but I only like numbers in context, folks. I don't like numbers in the abstract concepts of time. I can't talk. This is the 8th take of that line, folks. I can't say abstract concept of time. It's not really the 8th take. Yeah. I just want to do that. All right. All right, everybody sit on your speakers. So, really?
God, really?
All right. I don't know. It seemed to work on you. That's all that matters to me. Literally, you're the audience for this show. Folks. I don't, here's the thing I don't get. I don't understand. And Lily and I were talking about this, and I don't understand why people just don't do what they're supposed to do. I don't. And again, I know this sounds like a bitch fest, and I know this show has a real possibility of creeping over into being the same thing every week, where I'm just frustrated with the world and I hate everything because, but you know what? If the world would stop doing what it's doing, then everything would be fine. I would be able to talk about other things. I would get out of this rut. I would be able to explore all of the other wonderful and beautiful things. I would just talk about butterflies for an entire episode. I would sit here and talk about monarchs and whatever the fuck other butterflies there are. I don't know. But I'd find a way to fucking talk about them, folks, because I wouldn't have to sit here and bitch and moan about people who don't do the things they're supposed to do. And it's always, retail people or fucking waiters or bartenders, whoever the fuck, they're always fucking up and they're always doing stupid shit. And you're just like, man, I can't understand this. And then you're you're disenfranchised and you're disheartened by their actions and you don't know what to make of it. And you think to yourself, God, why isn't everybody like me? Because you know who the best people in the world are? Me and Lily. Really? I mean, it's just, we are the best people in the world. And we look around at us and we're surrounded by incompetence and people doing the wrong thing and then explaining it away and glad-handing you and just pretending like things are fine. And look, let's not pretend that I'm anything better than anyone else. Lily's the best person in the world. All right, that's fine. I'm a dick. I get that. But you know what I'm amazed by? I'm amazed that I know guys that are like complete dicks and everybody's like, oh, that guy's awesome. He's such a dick. And then I'm a dick and everybody's like, oh, that guy's a dick. And it's like, trust me, I'm the same kind of dick that guy is, but for some reason, everybody thinks that he's cool. I don't, why? Why can't I be the cool dick, folks? Instead, I'm just a dick. I'm just a jagoff. It's like everybody else is like, God, that jagoff is the greatest. Oh, I hate this jagoff. You must like all jagoffs equally. Embrace all jagoffs. You can't segregate jagoffs. Jagoffs are jagoffs. Love all jagoffs equally, okay? Stop shunning me because my jagoffery must be different than some other jagoffery. All of our jagoffery is the same. Jagoffs are jagoffs. So why should it be that you and yours would discern from our jagoffery? You can't do that. How the fuck did I spin into that? Oh, here's why, folks. Because I don't understand people and things and industries. Whole industries, entire industries baffle me. Because I used to think that it was just individual entities, I guess, that were doing things incorrectly. But now I'm finding out that all businesses are shady. It's like garbage men, right? Fuck. We all know garbage men are controlled by the mob, and Tony Soprano gets a fake job, and he gets to go sit in an office, and then he leaves, and he looks at his ducks, and he picks up his newspaper, and then he eats gabagool, and then he fucking shoots Steve Buscemi in the face. All right? We know that. So that's how you deal with garbage men accordingly. When you see them in the street, you throw your garbage away and you tip your hat because you do not want Tony Soprano to shoot you in the face. Or strangle you, or you don't want Janice Soprano to stab you in the kitchen like Richie Aprile. You don't want it to happen. So you give your garbage men respect and you treat them properly. But you recognize that that's a shady industry. You know it is. But there are other industries where you think to yourself, well, there's no way that that's shady. It's just, but then you'll have some shady shit happen to you inside that industry, and you go, wow, that's a terrible place. But thankfully, the entire industry is not infected with that sort of bad behavior, and then you move on and you find that it is. Which brings me to T-shirts. I've had, what am I on, my 15th T-shirt company? I've lost count. I've lost fucking count. Initially, I had a T-shirt company, and they were nice, and I enjoyed them, and then they started to make shirts that weren't what I wanted. And did not tell me about it. And I had to find out via people who bought them. People were getting shirts without anything on the back. People were getting shirts that were falling apart. People were getting shirts that were different colors. And then when I called them to check on them, they were like, "Oh yeah, well I thought you just wanted that initial sales wave to be like really hardcore color, and we just thought the rest of them like basically they said, I thought you approved us half-assing it." That's what they said. And I said, no. And then I canceled my account with them, and then found out they were still selling the shirt. It was still listed on their website, including a hoodie that I never authorized. And then I called about that, and they were like, "Oh, well, we'll take it down right away." And I go, "Well, have you sold any?" "No, of course not." "Well, of course not. We haven't. Why would we?" Furious. So that was because there was a sale, and somebody else bought the business, and who the fuck knows? So I avoided it fine. So then I moved on to a different t-shirt company, who I did lengthy business with. And as you know, oftentimes, by oftentimes I mean every fucking time I made an order, there was a problem. They sent it to the wrong place, or they weren't getting it done in time, or they weren't sure about the size, and I would wind up on the phone over and over, and I would call them and I would bitch, and I didn't want to bitch, but the thing that drove me crazy was the girl who answered the phone was cheerful every time I called. And just tried to explain everything away. They just went, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely." Like, she just kept agreeing to everything that I fucking said. And I'd be like, "You're not listening to me. It's wrong. I'm telling you it's wrong. It needs to be this." "Yeah, okay, no problem. I'll tell them right away." "Well, no, but aren't you going to apologize or say you don't?" I mean, I would rather she argued with me instead of just going, "Yeah, uh-huh." Because all she wanted was me off the fucking phone. All right? And I'm sure you've all dealt with that, where you've talked to somebody and you can just tell they're just fucking nodding their head and they're giving the fucking wank motion with their hand, and they just want you off the fucking phone. So I dealt with them because, again, I liked the product for a while, and then it turns out now the product, some of it is not looking good, and you've told me, some of you people who've bought shirts are like, it's falling apart, or what, and I feel like a dick because I'm not trying to get you to buy bad things. So then I sought out a different t-shirt place, and it's the formative years with them. We're still dating, all right? But it's happening again, folks. It's happening. And I'm guessing that just the entirety of the t-shirt industry is a big fuck you to the world. I mean, that's the only thing I can imagine at this point. I was referred to this place by another person. I'm not going to get into it. But they said that they did good work. So I said, okay. And I contacted this other t-shirt company because, as some of you know, and by some of you, I mean none of you apparently, because I mentioned the Green Bay show last week, and I'm coming to Indianapolis, and people are writing me and going, "What's the Indianapolis shirt going to look like?" Or, "Hey, here's my idea for a Green Bay shirt." And I say, those are fantastic. However, we're not doing the city-specific shirts anymore because my art guy, David Hernandez, Max, has a life and kids, and he got tired of never speaking to them, and me calling him and going, and literally, I even stopped calling him and talking. I would call him, and he'd pick up the phone, and I would crack a whip in my house, and he'd be like, "Yes, sir," and he'd hang up. And it was constantly trying to dream up designs for cities and then coming up with those designs. And it made the shirt thing even harder on us because I had to deal with the company over and over. Like every time I went to a city, I would have to deal with them and then try to get the shirt shipped on time and get the right design and the size. And it meant exposure. Okay. I was being exposed to those people and their incompetence or their inability to do what I wanted more often than I wanted to be. So David was like, "You know what, dude, why don't we just come up with a shirt that's the official 40-year-old boy shirt?" And I said, "Well, you know what, because I'm greedy, let's do 2. He said, "Cool." And he came up with 2 amazing designs. I signed off. I loved them. And then I found a new t-shirt company to go ahead and call. So I called this guy. And we talked, and the thing I liked about him was he was very attentive on the phone. We talked for about 45 minutes. And I explained all my past problems and everything that had gone on and what I had done. And I used a lot of lingo, shirt lingo that I've learned over the years. A lot of, direct-to-garment and screen printing and then numbers. And I said, I want a Hanes shirt. I don't want this shirt. I'm tired of these sizes. And we talked forever. And he seemed really cool and he seemed into it. And he's, "Okay, well, what are you looking at?" So I sent him the designs. I told him what the sizing on it needed to be. And he was like, "All right, well, get back to me when you want to make an order." So the next day, and we talked, like I said, for 45 minutes. And I hung up. And then I actually called him again. I talked to him for another 45 minutes. We talked maybe 2.5 hours. And I thought he was really in tune with what I wanted. And again, I know he's done good work for other people that I know in the past. He's done good work in the past for other people that I know. I don't want to dangle a participle on you people. My head, it's so funny, my head thinks in terms of English, and I can see, I knew that was wrong when it came out of my mouth, and I had to correct it. I apologize. So, after being on the phone forever, I decided, you know what, I'm doing it. I'm just ordering the shirts from these guys. And I should tell you, they're far away from me. All right. That was one of the problems with my other t-shirt companies. They're in Chicago. So I didn't know what I was getting until I opened the box. I actually asked them, I said, can I get a picture of the artwork? When a shirt is done, just send me a photo of the shirt. And the first time I got like some grainy Zapruder film picture of a shirt, and then they just stopped sending me pictures. They're like, well, look, you got to trust us. And then, you know, I'd get a box of shirts, and one of them didn't have anything on the back. I mean, it just, you know, you're just like, what the fuck, dudes? So, because I'm paying, and I paid all the time, on time. Like I wasn't a guy who was like on credit or 60 days. When I got the shirts, I paid them. Done. In full. I wasn't carrying in a balance. So the new guy, he's like, I said, fuck it. I'm just firing it off an order. So I did. I sent him a long email, and I said, this is what I need. And I broke it down by size, by shirt, what color I needed. I told them everything that I wanted, and it's extra for 2XLs, it's extra for 3XLs, all these different charges. But I was willing to do it. I didn't care. I placed the order, and I said, now. And I placed this order on June 4th. I said, I need the shirts by June 12th. That's my drop dead date, because June 13th, I'm on a plane to Kansas City. So I need to bring shirts with me to Kansas City, and I need to make sure that this is okay. Here's my drop dead date of June 12th. Here's the designs. I'm approving. I'm ordering. I'm approving this number and this number. You have the artwork. Done. Let's do this. And I put a, with my email, I can be sneaky and put a high priority and tell me when it's read and all that bullshit. They read the email in 5 minutes. Cool. Order in. That was June 4th. I didn't hear from on the rest of June 4th. Did not hear from him on June 5th, which was a Tuesday, I think. So I waited until the end of the week, and I called him up because, again, I needed it on the 12th. So I waited till Thursday because I assumed they were in production and everything was fine. And I called on Thursday, and I got the guy. I won't say his name. I'll give you a fake name. I was going to give you his real name as the fake name. Because you wouldn't know. I didn't. All right. So now, because now I can't, because now you'll think any name is the real name. So I won't. Let's just call him Lily. Now, I called him. So I called him on Thursday, which was the 7th. And just to make sure everything was still in order, I could smell the smoke. Yeah. Lily tells me some guy smokes, and it comes into her house, and yep, it does. Someone's smoking. Wow, heavily, like right outside the window. What the fuck? Let's drop a water balloon or some shit on him. I'll do it. You got something? I'll pour it on him. You don't have to close the window. I don't feel like it. All right.
I'm gonna start hacking this.
God damn it, folks. I've ruined everything. I sent Lily off, and she's closing the window, and I feel bad. Although I got to watch her stand up.
Nope, I just caught a whiff too, and it's like.
Well, heavy. Like, that's like crazy smoke. Yeah, because it's funny. Karen doesn't smoke in the house anymore. Although Karen smokes by the pool in my apartment building, and we just got a thing taped to the door, and it said, no more smoking around the pool because people are complaining it's drifting into their homes. And so I told Karen, I go, yeah. And she's like, and it makes no sense because Karen's far away from the houses. But there is a guy in my apartment building who's a real nice guy, but he smokes on the balcony right in front of other people's apartments. So I know it had to be him. So he smokes cigarettes. Karen smokes cigars, whatever the fuck, who cares? More drama fucking on my street. I almost said my name of where I live. So, but now everybody's pointing fingers because there's also these young people who moved in, like in the front of they're in apartment 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they kind of party a little bit, but then they will sit out and smoke. Like whenever I leave for work, they'll be sitting out there by the mailboxes just smoking because they don't want to smoke in their apartments, but then they smoke and it goes into this old lady's house and it's a zoo. It's, because I've lived there fucking forever, folks, because I'm a failure. I've lived in the same place for 15 fucking years. So, and I've seen kids like you come and go, you smoking bastards. I'm going to be here till I die. Literally, that apartment, the woman died in it. She had lived there for 35 years and then she died and then we rented it. So that apartment has had, 2 tenants in fucking 40, 50 years. Holy God, that's awful. What an awful turn of events. I'm a failure. All right. And now I'm going to die in that apartment. And one of you out there right now who's hearing me, you don't even know it. You're going to move here because I don't give the address ever. You're going to move into an apartment. You're going to, hey, wait, is this the one that Mike Schmidt died in? Yes, it is. All right. Although, let's be honest, the condition of this show, sometimes I'm dying in apartments all over this great land of ours. all over the globe. So I get this dude on the phone. I call him back on Thursday the 7th. I'm like, hey, I just want to make sure that the shirts are coming. You know what I mean? I understand the weekend is coming, so I want to make sure. I don't know when they're getting shipped. They're getting shipped today. And he's like, let me check on that. I said, well, what does that mean? I go, you got the order on Monday. I ordered the shirts. I told you I needed them by the 12th. So, and I will say one good thing about my other place was the turnaround time on making shirts was pretty quick. So this guy's, yeah, and this shirt place is on the East Coast, so they have to ship them to me, all right? And normally, I would just say, well, you know what, ship it to Kansas City, and then I'll sell some shirts there, and then I'll bring the rest of the shirts home with me. But this time, I've ordered a ton of shirts. Normally, I only order what people pre-order, and that's what I bring to the city with me, and maybe a handful of shirts to sell. Well, this time I'm ordering a bunch of shirts that I'm going to be selling over and over via the website and everything else. So I can't get him to ship fucking 100 shirts or 150 shirts, whatever I ordered, to the city, because then I'll have to bring them home and pay extra luggage, whatever the fuck. So I said, yeah, I just make sure. He's like, okay, I'll check on that. And he hangs up. And he does not call me back. And then I get an email, because I have to go to bed, folks. I'm a grown man who has to sleep during the day. And I wake up and there's an email. And he did not call my cell. He did not call my home phone, even though he has all of that information. He, however, sent an email. Yeah, unfortunately, I checked with production. And it turns out they can't even start printing your shirts until the 15th. So this is June 7th. I ordered them on the 4th with a drop dead by the 12th that I needed them. They can't even start printing them until the day of my Kansas City show. I was not happy. But I'm pot committed at this fucking point. I haven't paid anything yet, but they have all the designs. I have a good reference from somebody that they do good work. So I called him and I go, what are you telling me this for? I told you I had to drop that at the 12th. Yeah, well, production they didn't get that. I'm sorry. Basically, he did not make the order. That's it. This guy who I dealt with, who read it 5 minutes after I sent it, never put in the formal order. Because when I called him, I go, I never got an invoice. I don't have anything from you guys. Yeah, let me check. All right, Lumberg, fucking check. So the next day, I call him and I'm like, the 15th? And he's like, yeah, production is really behind. We're really busy. It's a busy time of year for us. And I'm like, yeah, fine. But I now lose a city where I would have brought shirts to sell. So if you do print them on the 15th, when will I have them? He goes, they'll be printed on the 15th and probably the 16th. And then I'm sure they'll ship to you on the 17th. And then I go, all right, here's the thing. I'm in Toronto on the 26th. I said, so I need them drop dead. If you want to do this again, I need them drop dead Tuesday, the 25th. Is that the 25th, 26th, 27, 20? Yeah, 29, 28, 27, the 26th. I need them by the 26th. No problem. They'll be printed on the 15th and they get shipped to you. And also another thing is, he told me shipping was going to be like $75. And I to me, that was like an outrageous amount. But then I realized that I'm ordering triple the shirts that I ordered in the past, so it's a large cost, which is fine. I'm willing to undertake it. And you guys are nice and you're buying shirts. Who cares? Oh, and I should tell you, once I placed the order on the 4th, I put the ad up on Facebook for the shirts. And only one person ordered a shirt, but he's in Spain. And I told him, I go, dude, I'm sorry, I'm waiting to hear what's going to happen with the shirts, but I appreciate. And he goes like, no problem, dude. I'm happy to order. I can wait. It's good. So, although he said all that in Spanish, but I can't say that. He said, hey, shirts me gusta. That was all he said. So I'm waiting. So I said, all right, fine. I go, you print them on the 15th and then they ship the 18th. That's fine. And I'll square up. We'll pay. I go, but remember, I'd still like to see a picture of the shirts. And he goes, well, I'll definitely get you a mock-up of the artwork and we'll definitely take a look at it. I go, yeah, but can I see an official picture of a finished shirt? I go, you got to understand, I'm 3,000 miles away from you. You got to hold my hand a little bit on this because I'm a little freaked out about giving you guys this is a big amount of money and then opening the box and there's, 4 rats and a half-eaten shirt in it. I go, I'm not going to get taken. And he's like, no, I understand. I totally understand. And he's lumberging the shit out of me. Yeah, no problem. We'll do it. It's fine. Yeah. Going to need that confirmation. Fine. So no invoice shows up. And I'm waiting. And then the 15th, last week, I'm in Kansas City on Friday the 15th, and I get in the email, I get the mock-ups of the artwork for my approval. Granted, I had to call that morning and say, where's my invoice? And he said, oh, well, there's no invoice yet. I'll get you the artwork and I'll go ahead and take a look at what production's done. I said, well, they're getting printed today, right? You told me they're going into production today, the 15th. Yeah, it's just we got to get the approval on the artwork from you. I said, great. So where is it? Yeah, I'll take care of it. No problem. You know what? It's cool. I'm happy to do it. And he's just a nice guy. I picture him just with a fucking corncob pipe in his mouth and he's whittling and whatever the fuck, but not a goddamn businessman. So he hangs up. I'm in the hotel in Kansas City. Finally, the mock-ups for the artwork come, and the shirt looks great. It's exactly what I wanted. It's the same size. I specified everything. They look good. It's not the actual shirt. It's just a fucking cartoon of the shirt, but fine. So I wrote back, I approve this. They will go into production today, correct? The 15th? Good, because I need them by a drop date of whatever, because I'm going to Toronto. No response. Monday, the invoice shows up. It's got a price breakdown. It doesn't specify the shirt brand I wanted. So I in my head, I'm like, well, I hope they know that because it was just verbal. He and I talked about it. I have it in previous. It's in the artwork mock-up, but it's not on the invoice. But I'm charged no extras. I'm charged amount per shirt. I'm charged for screen changes. 8 different screen changes at $10 a crack. For the printing, whatever the fuck. I don't know how it works. I don't run a goddamn t-shirt shop. Again, I thought this business was universal and everybody knew what the fuck they were doing, but I'm finding out there's a lot of gray area. And by the way, you get charged $10 for gray area. So I don't fucking hear from them. On Monday, I get the invoice, and I'm like, all right, well, so they must be shipping. But I couldn't talk to him Monday because I was busy doing some other stuff. So then I called this morning, Tuesday, and I get him on the phone. He's like, hey, Mike, how are you? I said, well, good. I just want to make sure my shirts are shipping today. He's like, shipping today? I said, yeah, because we talked and you said they were going into production on Friday the 15th. And I told you I have to have them by next Tuesday morning because I leave on a red eye that night for Toronto. So you're going to make sure to get them done, right? And he's like, oh, well, I'm going to need to check. I go, well, I got an invoice from you yesterday with the price breakdown. So I'm going to take care of the invoice with you now on the phone, but I need to know that they're in transit. And I should tell you this also, I'm charged a certain amount on this invoice. It does not have a shipping cost. He goes, well, because we didn't know how fast it was going to take for us to get them to you. I said, right, well, if they're done now and you're sending them, you shouldn't be charging me any extra for shipping. They should get here within 4 days or whatever. And also, why would you charge me extra for shipping anyway? You told me you were going to ship them. He goes, all right, well, you know what? Let me take a look. Let me check. I'll go ahead and talk to production and find out exactly where we're at here. I go, Greg, you're killing me. And that's another fake name. So I said, you're killing me, Greg. I said, this is my first deal with you. I'm about to give you $1,000. I don't know you guys. I've never done any business with you. You're referred by a friend. I said, you already missed one ship date. And now you're telling me you've got to check to make sure that they're online to get shipped to me so I have them for next week. I go, I already missed selling them in Kansas City. I can't miss selling them in Toronto. And he's like, yeah, well, you know what? I'll definitely get on that. You got an invoice and that's cool. And I go, well, I want to take care of the invoice. I want to pay it as soon as I know that everything's done and shipped and they look good. And also you were going to send me a picture of a shirt and I never got a picture of a shirt. Well, I can definitely assure you we do fantastic work. I go, I appreciate it and I'll take your word for it, I suppose, but you're asking me to give you $1,000 on your word when you've already not shipped the shirts once. I'm sure they're going to look fabulous. Does me no good if they're sitting there. Well, I understand, I'll go ahead and let me figure out exactly what the shipping cost could be if we've got to send them faster or whatever. I go, well, you know what? I'm not eating any fast shipping costs, Greg. I'll just tell you that right now. This is our first dealings together and you're telling me that you're going to have to ship them quicker and I'm going to have to eat the shipping cost? That doesn't seem fair. I said, you know what? Another thing is I would tell you normally to just ship them to Toronto and then I would sell them and I would take home the leftovers, but you're shipping you're over 100 shirts. That will leave me in a lurch when I only sell 10, and then I've got to bring 90 shirts home in a separate bag that I have to then pay for, and I'm sure it's going to weigh more than 50 pounds. I go, you're really, really stretching me the fuck out here, Greg. And he's like, you know what? No problem. I'll take care of it. I go, you got a pen, Greg? He goes, yeah. I go, here's my phone number. I gave him my home number. I gave him my cell number. I gave him my email address. I go, I know you have the email because I've already gotten the invoice from you, and I know you got the home phone because that's what we're talking on. There's my cell. I need to hear from you today. You need to tell me exactly where we're at, when they're shipping, when they're coming, what production says. Are they done? Because they've been in production since Friday, so obviously they must be done, right? I need to know that they're coming. No problem, Mike. I'll take care of it. I said, you know, but the problem is, though, I sleep in the daytime. I said, I'll be up another hour. I'll stay up another hour to hear from you. And if I don't hear from you, then you're going to have to call. And I'd prefer if you called both phones and sent me an email to leave me messages on all three just in case. No problem, Mike. I'll take care of it. We'll square it away. I'll talk to production today and find out exactly when these are coming to you. I guarantee the work's going to look fantastic. I can't wait to do it. I go, good. I'll pay it when I find out everything's fine. And it says on the invoice, it says all payments are due up front and in full. And it's like, fuck you. Until I see it, I'll pay you half. And then when I open the box and I see that they're done right, I'll pay you the rest. I'm good for it. Okay? I'll give you references for other fucking t-shirt companies. I'm on the web. I'm not going anywhere. Because you know what? Unlike you, I do what I say. No problem. You know, I didn't say all that to him, of course, but in my head. And he's like, okay, I'll take care of it. And he hangs up. And I went to bed. And I woke up. And there's no email. And there's no phone calls. I got nothing. I have nothing. So I'm assuming they did not go into production. That's my only guess. And he didn't want to tell me. And they're going to either balls out, try to hustle them and get them done and get them me quickly, or they're just going to tell me tomorrow when I call, yeah, sorry, we couldn't, and I'm just fucked. Just fucked. So I don't know. So like I said, luckily, by the way, this entire segment is just for one guy in Spain. Like this whole segment about shirts is just for the one dude in Spain who ordered a shirt. Because everybody else like wrote, they're like, oh, these look fucking awesome. And then nobody ordered a shirt, which is fine. But it just made me laugh that one dude ordered it and he's the most patient guy. So, guy in Spain, I don't want to say your name because I don't want to get you to freak out. But please know that your shirt is on back order at some point. And I honestly, if I call tomorrow and they give me that they're not done or they're not shipping, I'm canceling the order. And I don't know how that's going to turn out because then they're going to go, no, you owe us money. And I'm going to go, fuck you. I've called. I've tried to settle up with you guys, but I need them. I've already lost 1 week of sales, and now I'm going to lose another fucking week of sales. Because again, June, as we know, is the month of Mike in the summer of Christine. This was the month of Mike that I needed to have shirts. And Boston, we took care of Boston. All right. But then I switched companies and figured Kansas City and Toronto would be good. And then I got fucked. So I already lost Kansas City. Because here's the problem, folks. If I bring it to the show, it's $20. But if you order it from me and I got to ship it to you, it's $25. So it costs you $5 extra for shipping. And I was trying to avoid that for Kansas City and Toronto. And Toronto, especially shipping, I don't know what the fuck that's going to be. It's going to be crazy. So that's why I really wanted to bring shirts with me. So I don't fucking know. I have no idea what's going on. I just, do I have to go to China? Is that what I have to do? Literally, because you always hear about China and they got people who sleep in the fucking factory and then they wake up and they make iPods all fucking day and then they go to sleep and their shoes are nailed to the floor. I need that. I need a fucking sweatshop. That's what I need. Remember, you know what? I said I have a small space that has all of my downloads. I need to clear that out and just put in a goddamn sweatshop and get fucking, you know what? I got to call Chinese Rick. Chinese Rick's probably got some connections. Where's my boy, Chinese Rick? Bomb Pop and Chinese Rick need to hop over there and get some of their friends and bring them over here to fucking make my goddamn shirts. China's got it right. They got it right. Have a bunch of people who have no jobs and then make them do shit for free. God damn it. I'm starting to think indentured servitude and slavery and forced poverty are not bad ideas. However, you can all keep your baby girls. That's fine. Keep your baby girls. I'm not a monster. I'm not a Chinese monster. I'm just the proud father of Chinese Rick. Infuriating. So I don't know what the fuck to do, man. It's like you can only get on the phone so many times and they go, yeah. And the second that comes out of their fucking mouth, you want to lose your mind. And I can't. I'm very bad because dude, I'm trying to give you money. I'm trying to work with you here. I've made orders. You've read them. I've given you these things over and over. You've assured me there were dates. Promises were made. Promises were broken. Hand signals were exchanged. God damn it. And I could have brought shirts to Kansas City. And I can tell you that those people would have been very unhappy and not purchased one. But so what? I would have at least brought them there. I don't know why I bored you with this, folks. I did because honestly, when I woke up today to come do the show and I saw that there were no phone calls and no email, in my head I went, I have to cancel this order. Like, I just have to cancel it because I can't. How do you do business with these guys who keep fucking you over? And I guess, because some of you are going to be like, well, they didn't really fuck you over. Well, no, I ordered them on the 4th. Via email, they read the order. And then they said, well, we can't help to the 15th. So you're telling me 11 days. I can't even be in production for 11 days. And now here we are on the 18th or the 19th. I don't know what the fucking date is, but all I know is they were like, yeah, I got to check with production. What do you mean you got to check with production? You mean you've got to put me on hold and yell into the back fucking room? You don't have some huge elaborate are you in T-shirt fucking Arkansas? Is that where you live? T-shirt Arkansas? It's just the entire city is working in this one gigantic fucking factory? No. You know how I know it isn't that big a deal? Because every time I've called this company, and I've called them probably 6 different times now, this guy has answered the phone. Don't try to convince me that you've got fucking oodles of employees that are unbelievably unreachable. You can't get them. They're at all spaces in the factory at all fucking times. You got to get an intercom. No, it's you and some fucking dude named Skeeter, and you're printing shit in a goddamn truck. Fuck. And it's funny. It's like I want to call the person who referred me and go, hey, did you ever have to deal with this hoop nonsense bullshit jumping through idiocy? And it's, you know what? Why hasn't California come up with a T-shirt company that I can just walk to? Why isn't there one on my block? Why isn't there one next door? Hey, you fucking layabouts in the front of my apartment building smoking by the mailboxes, form a T-shirt company and make some money. Make something of yourselves. You've got a goddamn potential customer 60 feet away. Stop smoking. There's enough of you. Fuck, there's 4 apartments where the young people who are all actors. Well, put together a T-shirt company in your spare time. I'll come over and hand you money. You make me shirts. Done. Fuck. I don't get it, man. It just must be T-shirts. It just must be making clothes. How did anybody get clothed in this world? I mean, back in the old days, I guess there were textile people who actually took pride in their work. But now, some guy just, if he can't put I'm with stupid on a fucking T-shirt in 10 days, and he considers that hard fucking work, you know what? Fuck it. I should just get shirts that say, I'm stupid. Fuck with. I'm stupid with an arrow just pointing up to my fucking face. God damn it. I should just sell the Emperor's new clothes, the podcaster's new clothes. That's what I should sell. Send me $20, folks. I'll just, and you know what? The shirt's already in your house. I hid it. Send me $20. I'll tell you where it is. Pull it out. Look at it. It's amazing. Podcaster's new clothes. All right. So that explains why I didn't have any shirts in Kansas City last week. I was in Kansas City last week, folks. Did a show, was excited. This was not a Kickstarter city. This is the first of the non-Kickstarter cities that are coming up initially it's 2 of the cities in June, in the month of Mike, in the summer of Christine. Those are not Kickstarter cities. And I will tell you that, Toronto is not one. Why am I telling you that? I just told you 2 of them weren't. Shut the fuck up, dude. You know what? I'm just groggy. I'm groggy from T-shirt fatigue. Because there's nobody close. Like, I can't just go in and yell at them. That's why all the T-shirt places, I think this is on a boat in international waters, so I can't sue them. That's exactly where they're at. They're floating in some netherworld between Costa Rica and the United States. They got some little boy named Sancho as a rowboat. Just have to fucking get it to shore. Then they put it on the back of an ass. I was going to say donkey or burro, but I went with ass. All right. I was in Kansas City last week, folks, doing a show at the Westport Coffee House Theater. And I'll just tell you this right now. I was doing a lot of talking about ticket sales and where tickets were at. And I kept saying, hey, buy some tickets, folks, because it looks bad. Like, I'm going to lose a lot of money in Kansas City. And, it's I have to pay for everything. I pay for the theater. I pay for the flight. I pay for the hotel, all that stuff. So I'm hoping to sell tickets so I can at least kind of break even. I'd like to make a little money. And I did well in Boston. And the Kickstarter stuff helped, but now that I'm getting into cities that are not Kickstarter cities, everything comes out of my pocket. So if I don't sell any tickets, I'm fucked. So one of the reasons everybody's like, wow, you're really pushing the Kansas City show. Well, yeah, because A, I'd like to play to a crowd, whether it's a small crowd or a big crowd. I'd like somebody to be there because, and B, here's why, folks. Last week, the show was on the 15th, June 15th, which was Friday. As of June 11th, which was Monday, I had sold 12 tickets for that show. And that's woeful, is the word that I would use. So when you're seeing that staring you in the face, because I get a report every night from Brown Paper Tickets telling me exactly how many tickets I've sold. And I'll get the Toronto report, and a couple tickets will be sold for Toronto every other day or so. And Indianapolis, by the way, stagnant. I sold a bunch, not a bunch, I sold a certain amount the first day, and I've not sold one since. Or no, the second day, I should say, within the first 2 days, within the first month. Whatever. Because I don't need somebody to write me and go, I bought one the third day. Shut up. Why am I mad at you? I'm glad you bought a ticket. All right. So, but Kansas City had only bought 12 tickets up to last Monday. So I started to push it really hard to you guys via Facebook. I actually Twittered the link at some point. thankfully, people started to buy tickets, so I was happy about that. So I'm like, well, I knew I was going to lose money, but I knew I wasn't going to get fucking killed. That was important. So I did the podcast last Tuesday. Left. I had to go to work. Went home, packed, and did the graveyard thing, and then I had to get up for an early flight. And my flight was in Long Beach. I mentioned last week. Wait for it, Long Beach. I had to be there, and I had to get a shuttle, as I covered last week. Unfortunately, I had to get a shuttle because Karen wound up getting a gig, so I had to go ahead and schedule a shuttle that was going to be at my house at 3 in the morning. That was the window. Because my flight was at 6 a.m., 5:55. So I had to have a window there, like, all right, well, we'll be at your house between 3 o'clock and 3:10. And I said, okay, great. So I left my gig at the graveyard deal. I went back to my house, got my stuff. Karen was asleep. I tried not to wake her up. And I sat down at the computer, and about 5 to 3, the phone rings, and it's the shuttle dudes. They're like, hey, man, go outside. Shuttle will be there within 5 minutes. Be there at 3 o'clock. I said, great. So I grabbed my stuff, and I head outside. And it's dark. It's got to be quiet. But I'm used to being up at night, and I like being up at night. I go outside to wait for the shuttle, and it's right around 3 o'clock. And I didn't wait on the curb. I waited in the middle of the street. Like, here's something I like to do, folks. Because I'm up late at night, and nobody else is up, and there's no cars. So it's kind of like there's been an apocalypse of some sort. It's like everything is ruined. So in my head, I like to pretend that everybody's dead and I'm like the last guy on earth or whatever. So if I'm up late at night and I'm out, I will actually walk in the middle of the street because it lets me pretend that I'm in the road. Not just, actually the novel, The Road. I'm not, just because I'm walking in the street doesn't mean I'm in the road. It means I'm in the novel, the post-apocalyptic novel, The Road, where the guy has to push the shopping cart and hopes not to get eaten by people. So that's what I do. I pretend that I'm in like a post-apocalyptic landscape. So, and also I told you I'll play Mafia at night, like, which means I will, I'll start emptying people's garbage. No, that's not true. What it means is I will walk the streets, and if I see headlights, I run, and I dive into bushes, because I know those guys are trying to assassinate me. And I actually kind of, in my head, also want to know what it looks like to those guys as they come driving up, and they just see a big fat guy run and dive into a clump of bushes. Or I'll hide. I do a lot of hiding. I hide behind cars. I crouch. I do a lot of crouching in the evenings. So I pretend. So I go outside, and I stand in the middle of the street. And as I'm standing there, I see headlights, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe that's the shuttle. But then as it gets closer, it's a car. And I'm like, and it slows down, and it looks at me. And I do this thing. All right, another thing I will do, and this is not going to go very well on the podcast, but it's true. I will walk in the middle of the street, and if I'm not playing Mafia, if I'm playing Apocalypse, I'll walk in the street, and if headlights come at me, I will do one of two things. One, I will just 1,000-yard stare and not even acknowledge the car. Like, I'll let it get even, it can be an inch away from me, and I don't give a fuck. I will just stare and just walk. And I will just look into the distance and just stare at what was our past and our future. And I'm just trying to make sense of this post-apocalyptic world. While the guy in the Buick Regal looks at me and goes, why the fuck is that guy in the middle of the street? Or I will do this thing. People will be driving, and I will be walking, and they will kind of slow down a little bit because they don't know who this maniac is in the middle of the road. And I will turn to look at them. But I won't just turn my head, and I won't do it quickly, and I won't give them a thumbs up. I don't ever betray the fact that I'm a real person. What I will do is I will turn my entire upper body toward them in a slow burn style. Like, they'll come up and they'll be driving. They'll kind of like slow down and look at me, and I'll just go. And you can't see me do it, but I will literally like turn my whole body like, yeah, like I will just, and to look at them, instead of just, there's no sudden movements. It's just really slow. Like, I'll watch them just drive by me, and I'll watch them fade into the distance. Because I want them to think that if they slow down, something really fucking bad is going to happen to them. So they speed up and they get away from me. Cause it's fun. So I'm in the middle of the street, and a guy comes and he slows down, and I don't 1,000-yard stare him because I have a suitcase and stuff. So obviously he knows I'm a normal person, maybe. Although it could have been a shopping cart. Who knows? I have a suitcase, and he slows down, and I give him the slow burn turn. Just like the half body, just body turn, and I look at him, and I notice it's a cab. And he drives past me like with a weird look on his face, and I give him the turn, and he drives into the distance. And I laughed to myself, of course, because I scared a cabbie. So he goes up, and I see him. He does a U-turn. And I look at my watch, and now it's like 10 after 3. So they're supposed to be there by now, no shuttle. And the cab pulls up, and this time he stops. And he rolls his window down, and he goes, "You go airport?" And I just looked at him, and I go, "What?" And he goes, "You go airport, get in." I said, "No, I'm waiting for a shuttle. It's fine." And he goes, No. He goes, "No shuttle." He goes, "You get in right now. I take you airport." And it's the weirdest thing because if I hadn't prepaid for the shuttle, the $55, I would have gotten into the cab. I don't give a fuck. I mean, he could have been trying to kill me. It could have been a fake cab. I don't give a shit. There's adventure to be had. When someone at 3:30 in the morning or 3:15 in the morning says, "Hey, get in," you get in. Because inevitably you're going to get a fucking story out of it one way or the other. So I said to him, I go, "No, it's good. I paid for the shuttle. It's fine. It's on its way." And he goes, No, you go now. And he goes to get out of his car. And I go, "I'm fine. I'm not getting in your cab." And he's just like, "Oh." He goes, "Why take you to LAX right now? We go right now. It's like $45. And I go, "I'm going to Long Beach." And he's like, "Oh, Long Beach?" And he gets in his car and drives away. Because nobody wants to go to fucking Long Beach. Least of all me. So 3:10, he drives away. 3:15 becomes 3:20. 3:20 becomes 3:25. Now, again, my flight's at 6, so I got to be in Long Beach by 4. But it's a shuttle, so who knows how many other fucking maniacs are going to pick up on the way. So I'm waiting in the middle of the street with my goddamn suitcase. Cars drive by, slow burn, turn, 1,000-yard stare. I don't give a fuck. And then I see headlights, and it's 3:30 now. And as it gets closer, it's a van. So I figure it's got to be the shuttle. And he gets closer, sure enough. It's the big blue fucking super shuttle van. So I'm standing there in the street, van stops, and he doesn't pull over. He just stops directly in the middle of the street as well, puts his flashers on. And I can see through the glass, I don't really see a driver. Like, I don't see anybody. I see a couple heads, it looks like, but it's that dark glass. And the driver's door opens, and I'm standing there with my stuff, and I just see I see feet, like, dangle out of the van. And I see a guy jump. Like, I see, how someone jumps out of a van? And he jumps out, and I don't see his head, like, through the driver's side window. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And he comes around the corner, and I don't know how many phone books he was sitting on. I don't know what kind of a booster seat this guy had. It was like, I think a wedding cake was driving the van, and he was on top of it and jumped off to greet me. He comes walking out, and he's got to be 5 feet tall. I mean, he's I'm saying 5 feet tall. He's not quite a midget, yet not a man. And the thing is, I guarantee you he's got to be 5 feet tall, because I know a dude who's like 5'4". I know a 5'4". I think the 5'4" dude could dunk on this guy. That's how small he is. He had to jump out of the van, but his feet were wee. He comes around the corner, and he's totally shrimpy and short, and he comes out, and look, all right. So he's short, and then there's something else that I can't quite put my finger on. I don't know what it is, because but he comes out and he looks at me, but I noticed this right away. All right, this is the hairiest person I've ever seen in my life. Like the swarthiest, hairiest fucking Team Jacob werewolf motherfucker I have ever seen. And maybe I'm like, maybe he got caught in mid-transformation, or maybe it's a coyote in a shirt. Like, I couldn't figure it out. It's like, because he had this crazy helmet of hair that was like bushy and curly and also went all the way down his back, coupled with a giant bushy mustache. You couldn't even see his eyes. I mean, it looked like Gene Simmons fucked Jim Croce. That's what it looked like. And they had a baby who couldn't drive and was tiny. Although I didn't know he couldn't drive yet, but I'll get to that in a fucking minute. But sure enough, he's tiny, he's wee, and he comes out. And you know what it looks like? He's so hairy, and his arms too. It wasn't just, the whole package. He was just, it looked like a barbershop floor got dressed and picked me up. Just jagged hair at all different angles. I have expected a wind to blow him past a gunfight. That's how fucking crazy, hairy, tumbleweedy this fucking dude was. Holy shit. So I couldn't, he just pops out as this huge lint ball. I'm like, I was like, wait a minute, is this a van or a dryer? Did someone just scoop you out? I thought it might have been a lint screen, and somehow someone had scraped him out to come and greet me. So fuck, man, he waddles up to me, and again, there was something weird too, other than the hairy. It just looked, again, it was a barbershop floor in chinos, and he fucking walks up, and he just goes, "You go Long Beach?" And I'm like, "Yes, I go Long Beach." And so He goes to take my bag, which he's shorter than. I'm like, dude, it's okay. I can get the bag. And he's like, no, no, I get it. And he grabs it and he rolls it toward the back and he goes to fucking load it in. Because again, they're fighting for tips. So I put my other bag in the back and I got my laptop. And when I get around to the front, to the side, you know, where you're supposed to get into the van, there's two dudes in the van. And one of them is sleeping. He's got his head like tilted back with his eyes closed. And the other one has this look of pleading on his face. Like almost, like I wouldn't say sheer terror, but just a look of like, oh, really? Like he was so happy to have another human being who was getting on there with him. But at the same time, he was warning me with his eyes that I did not want to get into this van. But folks, I go Long Beach, so I have to get in the van. So I hop in and there's the front two seats and then there's a bar and then another bar. I'm in the back bar, and I sat next to the guy who had his eyes open, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, he's just kind of like wobbly. Like, all right, I don't know what that means. So fucking hairball closes the goddamn doors. He hops in, and he has to climb up. He has to literally like a little kid climbing to the top of a couch with a bath towel tied around his neck because he's a fucking superhero and he's going to jump off and fly. I mean, he's just like scrambling into his seat. And he's got that beaded seat cover, but also there's like a booster. Oh, it's fucking brutal. So he climbs in, and he gets on the radio, and we have to all sign. For some reason, he decided to get me that we all have to sign our receipts. So he sends our receipts back. We got to sign our names, and he puts it up front, and he's like, all right, we go. And he fucking starts the van, and he starts to drive. Now, he drives from my house, and we got to go up to a certain, well, I can't say the name of the street. You'll know where I live. But the freeway entrance is about 3 lights up, and then you take a left, and it's about 3 lights left. So he starts driving. Now, I live in a neighborhood. That was the thing that also freaked me out about the cab. I got to be honest with you. I don't live, it's not New York, all right? It's not like there's cabs all over the fucking place. You have to call a cab, like on the phone where I live. And so to have this fucking cab, like land sharking around and trying to trawl for fucking passengers... It was like, how desperate is this dude for cash? But at least I chased him off. So now I'm in the shuttle, which I've already prepaid for. We're driving, and we start driving. We go about a half a block. And the shuttle is shaking. Like vibrating. Like jerking back and forth. And this is on my street. Okay, we're not on the freeway. We're not on a pothole-laden fucking lunar landscape bullshit. You know, remember I envisioned myself in the road? I'm now driving on a road that might be from the road. It's that bad. And, we go through the stoplight after a half block, and we start driving again up the street, and it's shaking really badly. And the guy who's sleeping, for some reason, is sleeping through it. And I normally can sleep through that sort of thing, but I was awake when I got in the van, and I look at the dude next to me with the face, and he's just looking, like staring right at me like, yeah, that's why I was giving you that look when you got in the fucking van. Because... Look, I'm not a man, all right? I recognize that. I'm not a grown man. I don't know anything about fucking gear shifts or any of that bullshit. I don't have grease on my hands. I couldn't change a tire. But holy fuck. I don't know what a shock absorber is, but I know that this van didn't have them. That's all I fucking know. Because we're shaking. It's, you know what? It was so bad. I'm not kidding. I fucking filmed it. That's how bad it was. I held my phone up and just hit, record, and it's like, and just fucking shook all over the goddamn place. I looked like a goddamn Parkinson's guy. It was like I was in a rickshaw pulled by Muhammad Ali. That's how fucking bad it was. I thought we were being pulled by horses. It was fucking crazy. So we're driving and we're shaking, and this is on normal streets. And I'm like, what the fuck is this going to be like on the freeway? And then they're like, well, maybe at higher speeds it mellows out. No, it does not mellow out. So we go in and get on the freeway, and he starts to really accelerate. And it starts to shake, like vibrate and hum, and it's moving back and forth, and it's rocking like a canoe, like on water. It's that bad to the point where, you know what? I envision this is what the Bang Bus must look like at all times in Florida. Whenever they're filming a porno and 2 people are fucking in the backseat of that van, when it drives by, it's got to be moving with this same type of stuff. Everybody had to think we were fucking like bandits in this goddamn shuttle, because we're driving and I'm filming and I'm freaking out and I'm trying to close my eyes and get through it because in addition to the shaking, there's bad shaking, and then there's the fucking barbershop floor is driving, and I can't even see his head. By the way, there's like a seat, and you can barely see the top of his fucking Gene Simmons hair helmet, and then he's got a hand on either side of the steering wheel, and he's driving it like a little boy driving a van. Like when you were a kid, and you would sit in a big chair and pretend you were driving a car, and like that's what he looks like. So the dude next to me, the one dude is sleeping and still just rocking all over the place. The van is rolling, and that guy's in the front seat, and it's shaking bad. And so I'm kind of getting sick because not only is it shaking, but it's time I should mention this to you folks. Remember I said there was something I couldn't quite put my finger on outside? He was hairy, and that took my concentration away because there was something else. I immediately went, something's up. And then I get in the van and we close the doors and we're driving, and not only is it shaky and there's dudes in there, it reeks in this fucking van. I mean, it smells like a police stakeout. Like when you see those dudes who sit in a car for like 4 days and just drink coffee and just fart. That's what it was fucking like, man. I mean, and this guy, this dude had to be sweating curry for like 4 hours, and he's chugging coffee to fucking stay awake. It felt like being on a train in India. Like I got this swarthy guy driving. It's like I'm Schmidt Dog Millionaire. That's who the fuck I am. I'm Schmidt Dog Millionaire in this goddamn van. We're driving, we're shaking, the stench is so bad, and the windows aren't open, and I'm getting sick, like actually physically ill. And so I close my eyes, or I'm like, maybe I can just ride it out like this dude in the other bar, but I'm already in fucking, someone was smoking too, I can tell you that. He was smoking. He may have had a hookah in the glove compartment. I have no idea. But it just reeks. It smells like the fucking Darjeeling armpit. I mean, it's just fucking terrible. So we're driving, and this guy, I got my eyes closed, we're on the freeway, and it's 4 a.m. Nobody else is on the freeway. Well, except one car on the freeway who's coming up behind us. And fucking Croce cuts them off without a fucking turn signal. He merges into their lane with no turn signal at all. There's a guy, I mean, because I could see them coming up fast, and he just cuts them off. And you know, the wobbly van gets in their way, and I hear them honk and fucking swerve. It's like, dude, there's nobody else on the fucking road, and you merge into that one person's lane and cut them the fuck off. That's like if you were sitting in a fucking movie theater alone, nobody else there, and a guy came in and fucking sat next to you. You would literally just look at him and go, you are the worst person alive. So he cuts this car off, and we're shaking. We're all over the place. And literally the guy next to me involuntarily just goes, Jesus. Like it just yells it. And I looked at him, and I'm just kind of like, I almost held hands with him. Like, are you okay? We're in this together, right? It's fine. Oh my Christ. It smelled like a goat's asshole, and it's just fucking wobbly all over. You know what? And like I said, I thought it felt like we were being pulled by horses, but you know what it really was like? Because the stench was bad and the ride was rocky. We were shaking all over the place. You know the scene in Empire where Han Solo cuts open the Tauntaun and he puts Luke in it to stay safe and warm? So it was like that, except the Tauntaun stayed alive and got up and took me to Long Beach. It's that bad of a ride. It smells that fucking bad. It's gruesome. And we're driving, and it's you know, like I said, there's nobody else on the road, but it's just this cart of misery as we're driving. The dude is driving, and we're rocking back and forth, and I'm trying not to puke, even though I should have puked because it would have improved the smell in the van. There's no doubt. If I would have launched, if I would have fucking booted right there in the van, everybody would have gone, oh my, thank God, thank you for helping. And the windows wouldn't open. They were locked. They were like closed. And I went to open a window, and he goes, no windows open. And I go, what? And he goes, windows don't open. And why? Like, I couldn't figure out why. I guess, you know what I probably think? I think maybe the company wised up after the fifth traveler had leaped out of the van on the freeway to escape the nose rape that was in fucking progress. But he wouldn't let me open the windows. I couldn't open them. And so we're driving, and I'm just closing my eyes trying to make it. And the dude next to me is like just shaking and looking around. And finally we pull off the freeway, and we're at LAX. Because I thought he was going to get somebody else for the shuttle, but instead he pulls off at LAX, and those two dudes were getting off at LAX. So he drops them off, and I have to get out and let the one dude out. But I didn't care. I always wanted to breathe. Open the fucking door and let me outside to breathe. So I get outside, and I'm like, I'm breathing on the curb and trying not to get sick. And those two dudes get out, and they get their stuff. I don't know how that dude slept through Stink Shake Festival 2012. I mean, honestly, it was literally Stink Shake 2012. That's what it was. But he made it. And they get out there, and I go to get back in the van, and they go to close the door, and the one dude who yelled Jesus involuntarily just looks at me and goes, hang in there. And I'm just like, okay, I'll be fine, I think, I hope. So fucking Hairball closes the goddamn van up, and the human toupee climbs behind the fucking driver's seat, and he launches out. And now I'm starting to actually worry about the time, because it's about 4:30 and my flight's at 6. and there's no traffic, but I don't know how far Long Beach is from LAX. I got no idea. I don't make that drive. So we get on the freeway and I'm still filming occasionally, and I can't, literally it's just now me and him and the week-old corpse that's stuffed with cardamom and allspice. I don't know where they're keeping it. It's under the chair, maybe possibly in the front. I have no idea. I can't see it. But we're driving, and finally I had to put my shirt over my face because I couldn't breathe. Because you know what it reminded me of? Look, I get car sick. All right, yeah, because I'm a pussy. Fine, I'll admit to that. But with stenches and smells, I'm really sensitive to that kind of thing. And then shaking on top of it, dudes, it just was not working for me, man. It was like, imagine if you went on a roller coaster and everybody was smoking. Like, it's that fucking disgusting. And when I was a little kid, my mom, we had a Pinto. I think I've told this story on here. My mom, the family car, my mom bought a new Pinto, a Ford Pinto, and she had 5 boys. So she would drive, Lenny would sit in the passenger seat with Scott on his lap, and then the back seat it would be me and Glenn, and then Andy in the middle on the hump. Like, it was just all 5 of us with my mom crammed into this Pinto, and then winter, my mom would smoke in the car, but she wouldn't let us roll down the windows because it was winter. So, and it was an orange Pinto. So it's like my mom is driving down the street and all you can just see is, heads and just smoke filled in an orange Pinto. We look like a diseased lung. That's what we look like. It's just round and orange and filled with smoke and it's driving all over the place, just like a diseased lung driving on the fucking street. So that's what it reminded me of, that horrible stench that's just ingrained in the car and in the fucking, the upholstery. So I put my shirt over my face and we're driving. And he keeps looking now. Now he's nervous. Like, he keeps looking in the rearview mirror at me. He keeps stealing glances. I can see him looking, and because I have the thing, or like a bandito. And I don't know if he thinks I'm going to knock him over and steal the van at this point. I don't know, because what am I going to steal from this fucking guy? He's shared his essence with me at this point. He has nothing else left for me to take from him. And believe me, anything I fucking steal from this guy, they're going to get back immediately. Because if I rob him and I take off, the cops are going to come, they're going to question him. They're going to be like, hey, what did he take? And he's going to go, he took watch. And they go, can you describe it? And he's going to go, smell like me. Done. You'll find me in seconds, for fuck's sake. I can't pawn the motherfucker. It smells like that guy's asshole. So he's driving. I'm waiting. I don't know how far Long Beach is. And then finally he pulls off the road to get another passenger. But I see a sign that says Long Beach. And we're there. We're in Long Beach Airport. And we pull up to the front and he gets out and I pay. And I go to grab my stuff and I'm just breathing fresh air and trying not to get sick. And then I walk into the airport. And I should tell you, this is my first time in Long Beach Airport. Long Beach Airport is a toy airport. It's little tiny. You walk in, there's like one gate, and then you got to go outside again to get to security, and then go to the where your flight is. It's terrible. So I walk in, I grab my stuff, and I have to hit the head because I realize at that point I'm gonna puke. So I go in, I go to the bathroom, and I open the door, and guess who's in the bathroom? Fucking Harry McGoat's asshole is in there scrubbing up. I'm like, really? You're doing a horse bath now? Why didn't you fucking clean up before you picked me up, you jag off? But I couldn't go in the bathroom because he smelled and he was in there, and I'm like, I can't share the bathroom with him. I can't. So I stayed outside and I'm sitting there I've got my eyes closed and I'm focused. I'm going, don't throw up. Don't throw up. There was a garbage can there, so I knew I could throw up in that if I had to, but I wanted to get into the men's room. And then finally he walks out and he's like, goodbye. And I'm like, yeah. He walks off. I go in the bathroom. And as I walk in, 2 other dudes walk in. And they go to the sink in the urinal. I go into the stall and I throw up all over the place. Just Ralph, just fucking vomit. And loudly, didn't want to, but it just loudly. And I hear them, they go, whoa, you okay in there, buddy? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Vomit. And I walk out and they're waiting for me. They're like, are you sure you're okay? I go, yeah, I'm fine. I go, do you need any help to the gate or anything? I go, I'm fine. I'm okay. It's everything that needed to be taken care of is now taken care of, and now I'm fine. All right, well, you just tell us if you need any help. Who the fuck are you, Good Samaritan airport guys? Yeah, you know what? Do me a favor. Come on over here. Open your pockets. I'm going to throw up again. Jesus Christ. So I rinse my face. I rinse my mouth out and fucking just cover myself in water. I go out and get my stuff, and I go sit, and I'm sleepy. Now I'm sleepy, but I'm sitting up. Another sleepy lady comes in and she sits across from me and she lays down, but she's sitting on her ass, but then slumps over like she's been shot in the head. And I'm like, God, that is sleepy. I mean, at least have some dignity for your fucking self, because her shirt's up and I can see her fucking whale tail. Awful. So then it comes time to get on the plane, and I go into the gate area. I go through security, and there's the two dudes, and they're like, "Are you okay? You want to go ahead of us? You can go ahead of us." Oh, and like, I guess I don't know if they're trolling me or just having fun, or they really are that concerned for another human being. But I'm like, I'm fine. I go through security, and nothing happens. Long Beach does not make me take my belt off. They're not concerned with anything happening, or maybe they knew that I throw up and they didn't want to see my balls too. I have no idea. So I walk in, I go to my gate, and I sit down, and then they start boarding. And sure enough, I'm in zone 3. I get in zone 3, and those two dudes are in my zone. They're like, "You want to go ahead of us?" "No, I don't want to go ahead of you." "Oh my God, I'm not dead." Get on the plane. And it was from Long Beach to Phoenix, and then Phoenix to Kansas City. Long Beach to Phoenix, I get in, and it's one of those fucking 4-seaters. You know what I mean? There's 2 on either side in an aisle. And it's even tinier than usual. I get in, thankfully the little Asian dude sits next to me. I just crashed out. I went to sleep. Slept until Phoenix, an hour and a half. I wake up, get off the plane in Phoenix, and Long Beach was deserted. You know, as I've mentioned, it was real early in the morning. It was completely deserted. I don't know if you've ever flown into Phoenix or had a stopover or gone through. Every time I wind up in Phoenix, it is like the fall of Saigon. It is just fucking teeming masses of people yelling and you know, mixing up smells and all sorts of people and hands in the air. And I don't even think they have tickets for the planes. I think it's just people trying to get the fuck out of Arizona, and they know that somehow, some way, maybe they can sneak into a cargo hold or something there, because it is just piles and piles of fucking people, and they're all just clamoring at the gates, and they're bitching and they're moaning, they're looking at departures and they're fighting, and everybody's sitting on the floor. And it's you know, I know there's a baggage claim at most airports. Every airport has a baggage claim. I think Phoenix actually has a dignity claim. Like, you have to go and re-grab it, but once you get off your fucking flight or before you get on your flight, or maybe you check it in at the fucking, I have no idea, but everybody's just furious and angry. And I'm walking around, and it turns out my flight the turnover time on it is only like 25 minutes. So I have to get across the airport. And I'm making my way through, and then I for some reason I made great time, so I had time to get a water. I wanted to get a bottle of water for the flight. So I go, and there's like a big Starbucks line and a huge line. I mean, everybody, because again, they're killing time. Everybody's just eating burritos just to fucking stay alive. So I'm walking through the airport. I see a ton of people, but then I see another crowd of people. And it's crowded, but you don't see a crowd. You know, does that make sense? There's a ton of people, but then there's a cluster of people. And as I get closer, I realize why. Because in the Phoenix airport, in line there at the Starbucks, is Snooki from Jersey Shore. And she's there, and she's, you know, tiny, and her hair, and she's orange, and she's kind of round. She looks like Violet Beauregard from Willy Wonka after she ate the blueberry gum. She's just round and dark-skinned, and they should roll her to the juicing room and fucking get her life back on track. So she's in line, and I'm walking, and I see Snooki, and the reason I know it's Snooki is because, like I said, I see her. So in my head, I go, I think that's probably Snooki, and that's confirmed by the 8 14-year-olds who are around her going, "Oh my God, Snooki, I can't believe you're in the Phoenix airport. Snooki, why are you here? Where are you flying to? Oh my gosh." And they're asking her questions. They're like, "Oh, Snooki, oh my God, Snooki." And they're talking to her. And as I get closer, I can hear them, because I just keep hearing Snooki, Snooki. Whatever they're saying, they keep saying her name. And they're just like, "Snooki, oh my, you're getting coffee. Oh my God, what flight? Where are you flying to? And hey, Snooki, and oh my God, what's the situation?" And Jay, wow, and they're just talking to her. And it's all girls except for one guy. There's one boy, and they're all jocking Snooki hard. And I'm approaching, and I feel bad for her, because I mean, she's just getting blitzkrieged by these youths. And I go to get a bottle of water, so I go into the Starbucks, and I have to cut through, and I'm standing there. And as I get closer, Snooki's talking to them. I didn't realize she was talking to them, and I don't even think they realized that she was talking to them, because they're going crazy. It's like, "Snooki," and they're asking her all these questions. They're firing away. And as I get closer, she's also got the big chunky sunglasses on her face. You know what I mean? So you can only see half of her face. She's got giant chunky sunglasses on. And as I get closer, I see her talking, and I hear her. Finally, I get up close, and she's saying, "I'm not Snooki. I'm not Snooki. I'm not Snooki. I'm not Snooki." It wasn't Snooki. It was just another woman who decided to over-tan and dress like an idiot. And she was being jocked as if she were Snooki. And she's trying. My favorite part is the calmness in her voice. Like, it must happen all the fucking time. Where she's just literally, she's not even looking. She's just saying it. Just tossing it off. Just, I'm not Snooki. 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 That's what she just keeps saying that. But they keep going, oh my God, Snooki. And now I can't figure out if they can hear her. And I don't know if they think that she is Snooki and they don't believe her, or if they are just trolling the fuck out of this poor orange girl as she waits in line for a chai tea and a lemon loaf. I mean, I can't figure it out, but it's killing me. I wanted to stay there all day and just hear how long it was going to take until one side gave up. Because then it's like Snooki and then JWoww, is she the coolest? Oh my God, it's MTV. It's, oh my God, you're so famous. I'm not Snooki. I'm not Snooki. I'm not Snooki. I'm not Snooki. And then she actually took her chunky sunglasses off and she's like, I'm not Snooki. And then you could tell she was not Snooki. Because she had like old people eyes. You can't fake eyes. You can't fake hands. And I just grabbed my water and I fucking paid for it and got the fuck out. I just bailed. But it kept going on when I walked away. I'm not Snooki. I'm not Snooki. Like, she didn't lose her mind at all. She didn't yell. She didn't scream. Just very matter of fact. And they just didn't listen at all. It was gorgeous. So I walk over to go on my plane and there's a woman at the gate. She's bitching and moaning about her family wanting to sit together and all this horseshit. And then they try to accommodate her and then they can't. So they start calling numbers for the zones. So I look at the woman behind the counter and I go, hey, as long as you're doing nice things, let me ask this. Are there any window seats on the right side of the plane that don't have someone sitting next to them? No middle seats. She goes, well, do you have your boarding pass? I go, I do. And I handed it to her and she goes, yeah, you know, I do. I have a seat with nobody sitting next to you, but unfortunately it's the last row of the plane. And I said, I will sit on the wing if it means no one is sitting next to me. And she goes, oh, okay. Well, most people don't want to sit in the last row of the plane. So, and she switched it up and I got on the plane and I get in the very last row and there's nobody not in the row at all. There's nobody in it. And when I walked in, there was that family was still bitching and they're asking people as they walk down the lane they're standing, they're being very obvious about it. They're standing in the fucking row. And everybody's like, excuse me. And they're like, oh, sorry. We're just trying to figure some stuff out because they separated our family. We're trying to get our seats together. And everybody's like, yeah, well, I can't help you. They never asked if they would have just come out and said, hey, is there anyone who can help us or offer money to switch? You know what I mean? Because I've done that. I told you I used to offer $20 to people to switch seats with me. If you're ponying up cash, people will listen. But if you're just going to sit there and bitch and be passive aggressive about it, fuck you. Your kid can sit with a stranger and get touched in the sky, and there's nothing you can do about it. Seems like I'm rooting for that, but I'm not. But it's just when people show up at the airport and just pretend like everything should just, that's people who don't fly show up and they just think everything's supposed to stop for them because they said something. I told you that when they switched me that time for a family, they're like, oh yeah, well we just switched you because that family wants to sit together. I don't give a fuck. I paid for this seat. I paid for a seat by the window on the right-hand side of the plane. You can't move me. And then I'm an asshole, but I don't give a fuck. Again, buy tickets that make sense. Because US Air, I think I told you this, they switched my seats on me. I think I mentioned it last week, and I was able to fucking fix it to where it didn't matter. Whatever. So I flew to Kansas City. Got on the plane, nobody's next to me, crashed out, sleep. Fly to Kansas City, and I was getting picked up by Scott. Scott is the guy who started the Bring Mike to Kansas City page. And I was so excited that he wanted to pick me up, and he's like, dude, I'm going to take you out for the Royals and for barbecue. We'll go on Wednesday. I said, I am so excited. Do you want to pick me up from the airport and consequently drive me to the airport on Saturday? Because I am never one to let a favor go unclaimed. And he's like, well, yeah, I can actually pick you up. I'm off work on Wednesday. I said, cool. He goes, I don't know about driving you to the airport because my flight, folks, was at 6 again. So I had to be at the airport at 4. And asking real people to do that is rough. So he's like, yeah, I don't know about that. I go, it's no problem. I go, just let me know if you can. If you can't, I'll get a shuttle. It's fine. It works out great. So I get to the Kansas City airport, which is, by the way, the Kansas City International Airport. I get off the plane and I don't have to get any baggage. I actually carried my stuff on. So I get off the plane and I'm like, all right, I got to meet Scott's. I don't know where the gate's going to be. And I don't know anything about the airport because all airports are new to me. You know, when you show up, I mean, like I said, Phoenix is a zoo. Denver was amazing. It was huge. Jesus, Denver's a fucking barn. So I get off in Kansas City and I don't know how far I'm going to have to walk. So I get off the plane and I take 4 steps and I'm outside. It's that small. Like, I don't know what international means. Like, they should have quotation marks around it. It's got to be a goof, right? Kansas City International Airport. I thought Long Beach was a toy airport. Jesus Christ. I said they shouldn't even have a fucking runway. They just hand out parachutes over Kansas City and you leap out and hopefully just land somewhere near the city. It would save you money, right? It would just save you money. God damn it. I actually Twittered. I said, look, international, seriously? I said, Missouri, just because you hate Kansas as if they were Pakistan and you were Israel doesn't make them another nation. So I walked, like I said, 9 steps. I get to the end. There's Scott, who I only know because he's like, Mike. And I said, I'm not Snooki. I walk out. Scott's there. Nice man. And he's like, hey, well, let's go. We'll take you to the hotel. And I go, now, are we hanging out all day? Because my flight got there at like 1:30. And barbecue was until 5. And then the game's at 7. I said, are we going to hang out now? What are we doing? And he goes, well, actually, no, I didn't plan on that. I go, good, because I want to go to my hotel. I'll, drop my stuff off, grab a shower, whatever we got to do. And he said, great. He goes, I'll just take you right now from here. We'll take you to the hotel. It'll be fine. I said, cool. He goes, well, let's leave. I said, great. He goes, you know what, though? You should wait here. I said, why? He goes, well, I parked all the way on the other side of the airport. I said, why? He goes, well, I didn't know where you were, and I actually parked like 4 gates over, and then I walked over, and it's hot outside, and you got a ton of luggage. And in my head, I'm just like, why did you... I don't know why. He goes, well, I haven't been to the airport in like 8 years. And I wanted to go, well, parking still works the same, Scott. They have a parking lot that you can park in, and then you can come get me, and you don't have to park all the way on the other side. But I figured I'd only known the man 9 seconds, so I shouldn't bust his balls just yet. So I'm like, all right, dude. And I believe me, you're going to tell me to wait in the air conditioning while you schlep out in the heat and get the car? Good, done. So Hoke goes and gets the car. And I Miss Daisy my ass into a chair. I start twittering brilliant lyrics and things about Kansas City. Things I may have mentioned already on this show. Lyrics? I wrote a song. So I'm waiting, and then finally Scott shows up in his green Camry. Hop in. He takes me to my hotel, which was the Hotel Phillips. That's my guess. Here's what I'm a little worried because I wanted to say the name, but I'm going to Toronto and all these other places where I have hotels booked now. So I don't want to say the wrong one because then you're going to know where I'm staying in that town. So I'm assuming in Kansas City I was at the Hotel Phillips. That's my guess. That could be in Toronto. I don't know. But he drops me off, and it's nice, man. I'm on the 9th floor. I was in room 911, which of course, which is good news. I never forget where I'm staying, which is great. But also, I should tell you this. It's like they told me I was in room 911. So immediately my imagination ran wild about what if there was a 911 in Kansas City? Because I'm in the tallest building in the city. This is the Hotel Phillips. And then there's 2 others around me. I'm right downtown. So in my head, I'm like, well, fuck, what if a plane came and flew into the buildings here? But then I realized, fuck, with that airport? I mean, it wouldn't even get nearly enough momentum up. It would hit the building and just go plang and then land on the street below. That was it. There wouldn't be any problems at all. So I go to my room and I do some internet shit. I get all squared away. I unpack and I immediately check out the quality of the soaps because I bring those to my wife. My wife likes the soaps and the lotions and all that stuff now. Look, I'm going to say this to you now, folks. I did not realize the value in bringing home all of the soaps and the lotions. I don't give a shit, okay? I give them to Karen and it's like Christmas. Every time I come back from any trip at all. It started in Minneapolis because they had all the Bliss products, which is they make my minty soap and stuff. Well, they made all the bathroom stuff for Boulevard Hotel or a Loft Hotel. And I brought them home and Karen's like, oh my God. And she was so happy. So now every time I go, wherever I stay, I immediately just scoop everything up and I throw it in my suitcase. And then when I get home, I hand it and she's like, oh, but it's just Christmas. It's Christmas. And it goes so far toward making you look like kind of a hero. Like, I know you couldn't come, but I brought you this free soap. It's such a small gesture. Like, I wouldn't think anything of it. But she lights up like she's 9 years old every time I give it to her. So I was happy to do it. Scooped it up, threw it right in the suitcase. Hoping that they would refill it later so I could get more. I unpack, I hang out. Scott's going to come and get me around 5 to go to Oklahoma Joe's barbecue, which I've heard a lot about. So I said, well, just call me and I'll come down and meet you because there was no parking at the hotel. It was one of those, again, there's a loading zone out front and a parking lot underground or in the back or something. So I said, when you pull up, just bring out your cell phone, call me or text me. And he goes, well, I don't text. I said, what? He goes, yeah, I don't text. So yeah, he actually told me that in an email. Like when he was telling me about picking me up, I go, I'll text you when I got wheels on the ground. And he's like, I don't text. You got to call me or write me through Facebook. And you may as well just send a pigeon. You know what I mean? It's like, who doesn't, because text is immediate. Like, it's even better than me calling you. I don't have to hear your voice. You don't have to hear mine. It's just, you see this disembodied word, I'm here, that's it, we're done. But he doesn't text. So I was going to have to find a raven and tie a note to its leg. So he calls me from downstairs, and I go, all right, I'll be right down. And when I came down, he was in the lobby. And I said, what did you do? And he goes, well, I parked like a block and a half away or something. I go, well, I told you didn't have to. He's like, well, no, because you got to sign some stuff for me. So he had a Never Not Funny book from when they took all the Polaroids for the podcast. I guess I'm in that. I didn't realize I was. And then he had the Never Not Funny album that we did, the CD. And Matt and Jimmy had already signed it. And everybody had signed a lot of his other book. And then he, unbelievably, had the Comedy Film Nerds book already. Like, I hadn't even done the book signing or the release party. Somehow he bought it through their website, I guess, because it was already signed by Jackie Cation and Chris and Graham. So I went ahead and signed that for him. And that's always awesome. I love doing that. So I signed the stuff, and he's like, all right, let's go. So we walk down, and like I said, it's downtown, so we had to park about a block and a half away. We walk. And we get to his car, and I can't understand what this guy has the fetish with parking far away. It's ridiculous. It's just pull up and let me get in your car. So we walk, we get to his car. He's got a Toyota Camry, which I had been in. But then when we pull up, I look, he opens the door, and the windshield he's got the full windshield shade. You know that thing that you unfold and you cover your entire windshield with the shade? So he's got that. And on his steering wheel, he has the club locked on his steering wheel. And then his car stereo had a detachable face. So he gets in the car, he takes the shade off, and then he unlocks the club, and then he pulls the detachable face and he puts it on the stereo. And now I realize why he's got to park so far away. And why it took so long for him to, go get the car at the airport. It's because he had to walk all the way back to 1992 to pick up his car. What the fuck, dude? I don't text. Here's my detachable face. I've got a window shade. I've got the club. Jesus Christ. I have expected him to go, you know what? On the way over to the barbecue joint, we're going to have to stop and pick up Jesus Jones. Is that okay? Yeah, sure. Why not? I guess they're around. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I've got to drop some stuff off for Boys to Men in mint condition. I'm going to go ahead and zoom by and sounds good. So we drive, and Scott, to his credit, does not, he's, we talked, and I try to be nice to everyone right away. And Scott was really cool because it's awkward. Nobody knows the fuck. Well, actually, you guys know more about me than I know about you. So, but it turned out to be, it was great. We talked, it was good. And he took me through Kansas City. He's showing me stuff, showing me restaurants and landmarks and, all these different things. He's like, we got to get to Oklahoma Joe's because the line is out the door. It's a famous joint. Line's crazy. We pulled up, and there was a line, but there was only about 20 people in line. Which to me, I was like, holy shit, there's a line. And he goes, nah, dude, this isn't a line. We are lucky. We are so lucky. Because the dining room was full of people, and there were 20 people in line to order food. So by the time we got to the front, he's like, what are you getting? And I said, well, they got burnt ends. I'm getting burnt ends for sure. And he's like, all right, well, you know what? I'm just going to order a bunch of food and we'll graze on it. Like stuff you got to try. They have a sandwich called the Z-Man sandwich. It's like a brisket with provolone and sauce and fucking onions and a huge roll. And then he's like, you know what? I've heard they have a different variation of the Z-Man, so I got to get that. So we get to the front, and I order the burnt ends dinner with beans and I get corn? I forget what the other side. Dirty rice. I got dirty rice. And then he orders a fucking, I think it was just called a meat fuck. I mean, it was just like this pile of ribs, and I think he had pulled pork, and then he got a Z-Man sandwich with brisket, and then he also got the Z-Man, the special Z-Man. He got a chicken Z-Man made on Texas toast. So it wasn't brisket and it wasn't a roll. It was a chicken Z-Man on Texas toast with sauce and cheese and fucking, they pile it up, all this food, and I order it, and meanwhile, so I go to pay, and he's already paid. I'm like, God damn it, Scott, you don't have to pay. I wouldn't have ordered food if you were going to pay. He's like, no, I've told you because this whole night's on me. I got Royals tickets. I want to do this. I was like, that's amazing. Thank you. So we grab our food. We go sit down, find a seat, and by the time we sit down, line's out the door. There's got to be 65 people in line, and it's all the way out the front door, down the stoop. It's crazy. We start eating. Oh, he got fries and fucking, he got a ton of food. So I eat the ribs, and I'm like, and it was, I can't tell you how good the food was. I'm eating burnt ends, and all of the sides, beans, and there's potato salad. I'm eating everything. I'm just eating everything. And it's one of those tables, again, they got paper towels by the fucking gallon. That seems like a weird unit of measurement for paper, but sure enough, it's there. They got rolls and rolls of paper towels on the tables, and we're at a 6-top. Okay, but when we sat down, there were 2 other people there, and they bailed. So it's like the 2 of us, and there's 4 empty seats. So we're eating, and I'm eating, and I'm sampling a little of everything, and he is too. And he's like, "Man, I'm getting wiped out here," because he had already had pizza for lunch. Like, and he's like, "I just wanted to make sure you got to try everything." I go, "Well, you don't have to do that, but fine." And I'm eating, and he's eating. And I'm in that nether world of not being able to move, kind of, and sticky. You're sticky. You got sauce all over you. You're just sitting there. It's like you need a bib. You wish you had a bib. You're just floating away on a sea of molasses. It's just fucking crazy. So he gets up and he uses the restroom. So a guy comes by and he's like looking for chairs. And I go, "Hey, if you want to sit down here, we're leaving soon, but you can take these 4. Guy's like, "Great." He sits down. And he's like, "Hey, it's my first time. I've never been here. What to eat?" I go, "Everything. Look at this. Everything." I go, "It's my first time too. You got to talk to my friend. He ordered everything." But I go, "This thing's the best. That Z-Man with chicken on Texas toast is the best thing I've ever put in my mouth. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's like they deep fried a pussy and covered it in the best barbecue sauce you've ever had in your life. It was so goddamn good." So I fucking killed that. I keep going back to biting that, and it's his sandwich, but I'm eating everything, man. And so he goes to the head, and then this dude sits down, and this guy's like, "What should I get?" I said, "You got to talk to my friend Scott, but I mean, everything's really good. It's my first time too." And I said, "The fries are really good. You want to try a fry?" Because we had a ton of French fries. He's like, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah, you want a French fry?" He goes, "Yeah, I do." And he reaches over and he grabs a handful of fries. And he goes to eat them. And I go, "Hey, I said you could have a fry." And he looks at me and he goes, "What?" And I go, "I said you could have a fry. You said yes. You grabbed a handful of fries. I don't think I told you to eat all of the fries on the plate. I said if you wanted a French fry, you could have one." And he's a man in a suit. And he's just like, And I go, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. It's fine." And then Scott walks up, and Scott goes, "What's going on?" I go, "This guy's eating all your French fries. That's what's going on." I go, "Dude, I told you to have one. You grabbed like a handful. What's on your mind?" And he goes, "What, again?" And I'm just like, "No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding." I go to Scott, I go, "Yeah, I told the guy he could have a French fry." He grabs a handful of fries. Look at him. And the guy, he won't eat them. They're in his hand. He's just kind of frozen. He doesn't know what to do or whether to put them back, but he can't put them back because they're in his fucking clammy hand. But it was just crazy. Like I said, yeah. First of all, who says yes when you say you want a French fry? I guess maybe, yeah, because we do it at the sushi bar sometimes. But to take a handful, you fucking God, what a dick! What a dick! All right, so I busted his balls. I wasn't gonna let him get away with it. So maybe the next time he'll think twice about grabbing a handful of somebody else's fucking fries. Don't inch and mile me, motherfucker. I'm not from here. I'm from Chicago. I will bust your ass. So fuck this friendly Midwest bullshit. I let you sit down. That's it. That's where courtesy ends. So we get like 9 styrofoam containers. We just start packing shit in it, take our food, and Scott's gonna bring back to his girlfriend Kay. He's like, "Yeah, she's gonna go crazy because like we haven't met her in a while, and she's gonna go nuts when she sees how much food there is." So he loads it all up, and as he's loading it all up, I'm like kind of getting a little hinky. And I'm like, "Oh man, this is, it was great. It was all great food, but, folks, they always say you don't buy beer, you rent it. I rent food all the time. So, and I didn't even have to pay for this rent food. This was free food. I got free rent of this food. I was a squatter. That's what I was. I was a squatter with this food. Because sure enough, he starts to get everything, and Scott had gone to the restroom, and then I said, "Hey, I got to hit the head too." And he walked over, and I looked, and I went into the bathroom and I threw up. I did it myself. I made myself throw up. It wasn't like, believe me, Oklahoma Joe was very upset. The ghost of him was floating around. He's like, "Really, dude?" And I felt bad doing it because I didn't pay. If I pay, then that's fine. I mean, it's just like, throwing away whatever. But I didn't pay, but still. And I didn't tell. It's fine. I didn't tell Scott that I puked. Like I just went in the restroom and then I vomited and walked out. And then I looked at all the sauces on the shelf. And then we walked past the 8 million people that were in line. But I felt much better after puking. Look, folks, listen, I know I'm not supposed to do that. Nobody's supposed to do that. But Jesus Christ, you feel so much better, folks. After you literally go now, right now, and eat yourself sick. Eat yourself stupid, and then just throw up everything. It's fucking great. Lily says it's not good, but she knows it's good. All right, so especially with barbecue, because honestly, on the way back up, it still tastes okay. It's not bad. And please remember, I don't have any stomach acid. So there's also, this might be different for you guys. Like you've got all sorts of stuff going on in your body. I'm just like a huge empty pantry. That's all I am. Like I chew the food and it goes inside and then it comes back out just chewed. It's just the same food, just chewed up. There's no fucking brain. That's why I have to get rid of it because I don't have any stomach acid. Yeah, I'm not, yeah, it's bad. I apologize. I shouldn't be telling you this. Anyway, we leave, we go to the Royals game. And we walk in, and it's an amazing park. It's beautiful. There's fucking waterfalls, and they've renovated it even for the All-Star game this year. And we go to find our seats, and we keep walking, and we keep walking closer to home plate, and we keep walking closer to home plate, and then we walk down some rows, and we go, and I am literally, I think, 7 rows behind home plate. We are so close to the field that the net that they put behind the plate to keep people from getting killed by foul balls is actually like an impediment to our sight lines. Like, oh man, I wish this net wasn't here. I could actually see the field better. That's how close we are. It's crazy. I don't know how he got these seats. He said, I think he bought them on StubHub. I don't know how much they cost because, I'm not gauche, but they were crazy. They were so good. And then the game was great. And he's like, hey, don't go anywhere for the 3rd inning. And I'm like, I got suspicious because I'm like, all right, what does that mean? Is there going to be, like, is the mascot going to come by and do something stupid to me? Because maybe he sits in the section all the time and he knows what happens. If there's a sing-along, I don't fucking know. I don't want to be a part of it, though. I just know that. I haven't even slept yet, all right? I barely slept on the plane. I just threw my guts up at Oklahoma Joe's. I don't know if I want to be the victim of some prank. So we get to the 3rd inning, and the top half of the 3rd inning ends, and he goes, all right, get your camera out. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. What the fuck is going to happen? So I get my camera out. He said, check out the scoreboard. And they're like, the Royals want to welcome, whoever the fuck to the park. And it comes up. And on the scoreboard, folks, it says, the West Side 86 Jokers want to welcome the 40-year-old boy to the K.
Oh my God.
On the scoreboard at the baseball stadium. And I'm filming it. Like, I have my camera out, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding. Because I didn't know what it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be some video presentation or George Brett. I have no fucking clue. And it comes up, and it says that, yeah, because he even used the fan club name. Like, Scott took care of it, but he used the fan club name. The West Side 86 Jokers welcome the 40-year-old boy to the K. And he gets a picture of it. I film it, and I don't know what to say. What do you say? What do you say? Yeah, I mean, he's got amazing seats. I already threw up his barbecue. You know what I mean? He drove me around in his 1992 Mobile, and then he put me on the goddamn scoreboard as well. Jesus Christ! And so, what was funny? It was amazing to both of us, and I loved it. I was so happy. I couldn't believe it. I kept thanking him. Because you don't know what? There's no thank you for that. I mean, it was so thoughtful and nice. But then we spent the next 2 innings wondering just how bad the research department was for the Kansas City Royals baseball team that they would put me up on the scoreboard. Didn't they Google it at all? And just like, hey, is this the father of Bomb Pop and Chinese Rick who puts fucking popsicles in his ass? We can't fucking put this guy in the goddamn scoreboard. Anybody in the scoreboard who Googled the 40-year-old boy just went, oh, wow, okay. But it worked. It was fucking fantastic. It came up, and I just sat there like because again, I didn't know what to do or say. It was so fantastic. And we went through the rest of the game. It was great. I started to get hungry later in the game. I go, are you hungry? And it's funny. He's like, how are you hungry? And I wanted to go, well, because I just threw everything up, but I didn't say that. But he wasn't hungry, so I got him a limeade, and I went and got myself an Italian sausage. And then a listener to the show started tweeting me, and he's like, "Hey, I'm right behind home plate. What do you need?" I said, "I too am right behind home plate. What I need is for you to not look for me, because I'm a dick." And then he wrote me, and he's like, "Oh, now I'm actually offended." And then he said, the Royals tied it up late, and he sent me a picture. He's like, "Rally time," and he sent me a picture on Twitter. And I said, it is rally time. I said, extra baseball here in Kansas City. Never send a photo of yourself to me again. And he's like, no, I'm upset. His name was Greg, this guy, Greg. And then it turned out the Royals tied it in the bottom of the 9th. And then they won it. Or no, they may have won it in the bottom of the 9th, or they win it in the 10th. No, it was bonus baseball. Yeah, they won it in the 10th. Like 4 walks or something. This was a ridiculous game. But it was awesome. It ended. And then I looked at Scott, and I'm like, hey, do you want to go eat something, man? And he's like, no, are you kidding me? Like, he still had pizza with barbecue on top of it inside of his stomach, covered by limeade. And I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. So we left the K, and he took me back to the hotel. And then I get to the hotel room and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. But I had to do all my Facebook stuff. It was Wednesday night, so I had to promote I did the email blast and promote the podcast. So I sit down at the desk and I start surfing the net, doing some stuff, and then it gets to be 2 a.m. and I still haven't done my work. And in my head, I'm like, well, you know what? Just grab a couple hours of sleep. Do it, because I did it in Boston, where I laid down and I slept for like 4 hours, and I got up and I finished all my stuff. So at 2 o'clock, I laid down and I was still dressed. Like, I just laid down on the bed. I didn't pull the bedspread back. I grabbed a pillow. My suitcase was still on the bed, and I just laid face down on the pillow, and I went to sleep. And then I opened my eyes at 11:35 a.m. I slept 9.5 hours. I didn't move. I had my jeans on, shoes and socks, the bedspread. I literally was still laying face down when I woke up at 11:35. And I woke up and I'm like, oh, fuck. So I threw water in my face, sat down, because then I have to do all of my Facebook stuff, write the email, blast, everything. And Thursday, I didn't have any plans. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I had talked to Scott the night before. I go, hey, if you're not doing anything tomorrow, man, because he had mentioned there was another barbecue place that he liked called Arthur Bryant's. I said, if you wanted to go to the Royals again tomorrow and go to Arthur Bryant's, I would be up for that. And he's like, yeah, well, let's see. Like, he just wanted nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, we already went to barbecue in the baseball game, and now I went from being a guy that he likes on a podcast to nuisance within a day. Like, and plus it's a long drive from 1992, 2 nights in a row. So, and also another thing that I should mention is he kept trying to get me to listen to bands. Like, it was so weird. People want to talk to me usually, and not Scott. He gets in the car and he puts in a CD. And he goes, you ever heard of the band Czar? No, I haven't. Oh, they're great. It's from like 1990 here. And he throws it in, and it's just a band named Czar. And then like later on, he's like, hey man, this band Damone. I love this band Damone. And then a band like called, Wild Child. I literally, I was just waiting for him to go, you ever heard of this band Wild Stallions? And it was like Bill and Ted. He just throws it in. I mean, it was just all these. I thought I had bad taste in music half the time. This guy's got the shittiest music ever. Yes, I know. And believe me, I said that at the podcast, and everybody was like sad too. They were like, oh, his wife was mad at me. She's like, Czar and Damone fucking rule. I'm like, okay. She's hopped up on barbecue for 3 days. Okay. But I felt bad. But here's the thing is, when I was going to come to Kansas City, everybody's just like, oh dude, it's going to be awesome. We're going to totally hang out. And I'm claiming you. And then everybody fucking disappeared. Everybody except Scott, so, and I was cool with Scott for certainly one night, but then I'm like, oh, do you want to do anything tomorrow? It was awful. And I wasn't mobile too. That was another thing. So, and another guy, that guy, Greg, who I told you was at the ball game, he kept telling me I had to go to a place called Pierogies because they sell pierogies, and I love pierogies. But I've been on the hunt for good pierogies my entire life. Like my aunt used to make homemade pierogies for Christmas. We would go to my Aunt Rita's house. She had a white Christmas tree, and an artificial Christmas tree that was really tall, and she would make piles of pierogies. She made potato and onion. She made sweet cheese. She made plum, and she made sauerkraut. And they were just pie. I mean, and they were so good. They were sautéed, and they were fantastic. It was one of the best things I've ever eaten. So I've been searching for them ever since. And anytime anywhere a restaurant has pierogies, we'll go there. We came close at a Polish deli in Chicago, Karen and I. You know what's really close, actually? Mrs. T's frozen pierogies. If you make them yourself and you boil them and then you saute them a little bit with onions and butter, they taste very much like, not like my aunt's, but the same texture. But there's a place out here called Warsaw that's supposed to be famous for their pierogies. We went, they're too soft, man. It's almost like a poached egg. Like you can put your fork right through it. It just doesn't pull to it. It's a noodle. Whatever. Fuck. You don't care. But when I heard about pierogies, Greg's like, you got to go. Pierogies. It's amazing. They're open at 2 a.m. on the weekend. So I found out it was only a half mile from my hotel. So I was going to walk over there on Thursday. So I had asked Scott if he wanted to go out again, and he wrote me via Facebook. He's like, you know what? Actually, I'm up for the game and barbecue if you want to go to Arthur Bryant's tonight. So I wrote him back. I waited an hour and a half because I'm a dick. I should have just wrote him right away. But instead I was like, well, you never know. I mean, I don't want to bother Scott. Stupid. I should have just wrote him. But I waited till like 3, and then I wrote him and I go, yeah, I'm in. I go, and I called him and I said, hey, someone else told me about Pierogies. He goes, yeah, that's right by your hotel. He goes, you can go to that tomorrow when they're late. Or do you want to go there instead of Arthur Bryant's? I go, here's the question. Let me throw this at you. Would you want to go to both? He's like, what? And I go, we don't need to go to the baseball game tonight. That's fine. I go, but if you wanted to go to like Pierogies and then to Arthur Bryant's, I go, I just want to try this place. And then I explained to him that I can't find good pierogies anywhere. And then I looked at their menu and they looked like shit, but I wanted to try them anyway because this guy Greg told me about them. He's like, well, yeah, we can stop there and then go to the barbecue house. I'm like, good, let's go. So he picks me up and again, parked 2 blocks away. We walk to his car. He takes off the shade. He unlocks the club. He uses his flip phone. He takes off the fucking... he uses his ATM card at a fast food place for the first time ever. So we drive, we go to Pierogies. I walk in and everything they have has cheddar in it. That's when I knew there was a problem. They didn't have potato onion. They had potato and cheddar. Then they had potato cheddar and bacon, potato cheddar and broccoli. It's like they're trying too fucking hard. So I ordered potato and cheddar and they said they had caramelized onion butter. So I said, I'll take that on the side. So they brought the pierogies out. They fry them. It's a noodle. It's starch. Like it's dough and they fry it. So it's like an empanada. But the problem is empanadas have like cornmeal in them, so they actually taste good. They have some flavor. When you just fry like a flour-based dough that's not fluffy like pastry puff dough, it's like a fucking hockey puck stuffed with potato and cheese. It's disgusting. So I bit it. And I had told, it's so funny, I harangued Scott all the way on from 92 to Pierogies about how I can't find a good pierogi, and I told him the whole story I just told you. And then we walked in and I bit it. And I go, this is awful. And there were 3 in the order. I go, you want to try this? And he goes, oh, well, give me a piece. So he broke a little off and he goes, yeah, I see exactly what you're talking about. And I threw them away. I just got up and I walked out. And of course, fucking Pierogies is like, hey man, how are they? I go, oh, they were great. Take care. Walked out, threw them in the garbage. Horrible. Fucking Greg. So... Then we go to Arthur Bryant's for barbecue. And he has another place. He goes, man, it's crazy busy. There's going to be a crazy line. And we pull in and he goes, oh, a little shady part of town. I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, I'm going to park over here because it gets a little rough over here. I said, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But whatever. So we walk in and there's nobody in line. And he's like, I can't believe you are like barbecue good luck charm because there's always people in line. So we go in and here's the thing about Arthur Bryant's. Oklahoma Joe's is a machine. They are trying really fucking hard to make sure that they give you the best food possible as quickly as they can. When you order it, 9 dudes just start filling a plate with all your food, and then you're done. You're out within, it took only a minute to get all of our food. Arthur Bryant's, we get in line, there's a couple of people in line, and they're getting yelled at by the kitchen. Like, that's their hook. They're the Trader Vic's or the Ed DeBevick's, where there's like, what'd you have? Coleslaw. Why didn't you tell me you had coleslaw? And they go in the back and they grab it. Like that, they're just rude. And it's funny, there's a picture of Jimmy Carter on the wall. President Jimmy Carter has eaten there. And everybody used to say Jimmy Carter was a wimp. And I used to think it was because of the helicopters in Iran and the Malays speech. But no, I think it's because he never punched the guy who yelled at him about coleslaw at Arthur Bryant's. That's why he became a pussy. I was so pissed. It's like, because don't just give me my food. Shut the fuck up and get my food. I know you're by a smoker all day, but I don't need to hear your fucking attitude. It's not fun or cute. So we wait in line. I order some ribs because I asked him what's good, and I didn't want the brisket. And they had burnt ends too as well, but I had already had burnt ends. But this time Scott got the burnt ends. I went ahead and got ribs, and we walk through. We pay for our food. We sit down, and it was very good. It was like their burnt ends were more burnt than Oklahoma Joe's, but their ribs were not as good as Oklahoma Joe's, but it was still delicious. It was really good. And they give you pickles and white bread, and I just kept eating. The beans were fucking fantastic. So I'm eating all the food, and all of a sudden a guy comes in from outside, like a security guard. He goes, "Who got a Ford Fusion?" And luckily that car was not made in 1992, so it was not Scott's. And he's like, "Who got a Ford Fusion?" And he's asking around every table. He goes, "Someone busted out your windows on a Ford Fusion out in the parking lot." I'm like, well, I guess it is a rough part of town at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Somebody busted out somebody's windows in the parking lot. We'd been there 20 minutes. I don't know. And it's in this remote area. It's in this, it's not in a crowded area. That means some window bandit snuck up, smashed out the windows, and fucking bailed. It was crazy. But luckily it was not his car. So we ate. And, it was like we were sitting there talking and I just kept eating. I ate some of his burnt ends, but I ate all my beans and I ate bread and I ate fucking ribs. And I go, "Do you want to take any of these leftovers?" And he's like, I don't know if he did or he didn't, but then I kept eating. There weren't many leftovers because I kept fucking chowing. And, he's like, "I'm going to use the restroom." So he goes to use the restroom and he comes out and I was going to use the restroom. But he goes, "Oh my God, it's so small in there." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It's like a phone booth restroom. You can barely fit in there." So, I said, "All right, I'm not going to go in there just yet." We left and we're driving and he's like, he's going to bring me back to the hotel. It's only like 7. And he goes, "Do you need to go anywhere else?" And I go, "Yeah, what else is there?" And he's kind of like, what? And I go, well, you don't want to hang out and like go to any Vice or anything like that, right? And he's like, nah, that's probably not me. And I'm like, all right. He goes, what about a store? You wanted to go to a grocery store? I go, yeah, you know what? I'll go pick up some bananas for tomorrow. He goes, okay. So we went to Cosentino's, some fucking grocery store by my hotel. And I walked in and I said, is there a restroom here? And they said, yes. And so I went and I took a left and then another left and then another left. And I went into the bathroom at Cosentino's and I threw up. I spent the entire weekend buying and returning barbecue is what I wound up doing. So I did. I went in, I just fucking jammed, some fingers into my throat, and there you go. Launched right there at Cosentino's. Got rid of it. Because again, I'm not going to sit in my hotel room and fucking meat sweat all goddamn night. I got to feel lithe. I've got to feel ready to take on anything. I don't want to be leaden down by a pork midsection. So I of course throw up at Cosentino's. And I walk out of the stall, and there's a little boy in there, like washing his hands, just like looking at me like wide-eyed, like because I don't make a lot of noise. It's not like an exorcism, but still, when you're throwing up, there's a very clear noise that's happening. I can be as silent as I want. However, the water and everything else does not cooperate, so it makes a noise, and you know what's happening. Let's put it this way: either I'm throwing up or I'm shitting standing up. That's the only because you hear it smacking the water from distance. So unless I've mastered shitting from across the stall, we all know what happened. But this poor little kid is like, washing his hands and he's struggling to climb up on the sink. And I'm just like, how you doing? I reach in, I wash my hands and I run away. And I get some bananas and some water. And because that's what you need. Once you've puked, I need vitamins. So we leave. And then the guy working the register looked like one of the axes of evil, my buddy Dennis. He looked like my buddy Dennis with Down syndrome. Like he had a weird misshapen head, so I just started taking pictures of him. I took pictures of this dude checking me out, like at the grocery store, and he also looked like Elvis too, like he had a big like kind of lips, man, and like curled his mouth up. So I took a couple photos of him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I go, "You look like my brother." He goes, "Oh man, you know what? You should bring your brother in sometime. We'll have like a contest to see who looks like more like the other guy." I said, "My brother died." And he goes, "What?" I go, "That's why I'm taking pictures of you. It's kind of I apologize. I shouldn't be doing this." And then the bagger was a girl. She's like 17. She goes, "Oh. It was just this uncomfortable, horrible." And then I go, "My brother's not dead. I'm teasing. I apologize." And he's like, "Oh my God. All right, fine." And I don't know why I said it. It was just like, because he's just like, he was so talkative. He's like, "Yeah, man, you should bring your brother. And we can have a contest. Like we stand side by side and see who really looks like who other." My brother's dead. And he's like, what? "Yeah, I'm sorry, he passed away. That's why I'm taking photos of you, because it's, it reminds me." And the cashier, you should have seen her face. She's like, oh. She's like Edie McClurg and fucking Ferris Bueller. Oh. But then I told him, and he wasn't dead, thankfully. But I took like 4 pictures, and then I checked out. And then we drove. He was driving back to my hotel, and it was the town was full. You know what? The fucking ballpark too. I should mention this. Kansas City is. I thought Boston had all those hot girls around the fucking the river. The Chelsea River. Is that what it was? I don't know. The Thames. What's there? I don't know what's in Boston. I forget. But fucking Kansas City had, I think, even more inappropriately garbed girls, like in short jean shorts. And then the night he was driving me back to my hotel, there was some country music concert at the Sprint Center, and it was just crazy hot big boob girls in fucking short shorts and boots, all in fucking boots and big tits. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude. And so we kept seeing they kept coming out of every single building, like where they parked. And I'm like, oh dude, I want to go to this country show now. Jesus Christ. But instead I got dropped off at my hotel because he had to get home and watch, I don't know, the Cosby Show. What was on in 92? That's what he had to catch. So he drops me up at the hotel. I go upstairs and I'm sitting in my room, and there's nothing going on, man. I mean, I'm sitting there and waiting and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And I started to get antsy. So around 10 o'clock, I get on Twitter and I'm answering people and I'm answering emails. And then finally I just write on Twitter, I'm like, man, Kansas City, I'm up and I'm bored. What the fuck is going on? Somebody pick me up. Let's do something, for fuck's sake. And then people started to Twitter me. So they're like, some people in Kansas City, this guy Terry Twittered me, and Greg. And Terry's just like, hey man, come pick me up and I'll show you all the sights of Kansas City. Hey Terry, I'm not a fucking taxi, motherfucker. Pick me up. This is your town. Pick me up and show me the town. What do you mean pick you up? What the fuck? It was ridiculous. So I'm like, I wrote him and I go, Terry, you get a car and pick me. I don't have a car. Well then, Terry, you know what? Put your phone away and buy a car. Honestly, leave me alone. And Greg's like, I'm an hour away or else I'd come down there, man. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. And then one dude in the middle of it, this guy goes, I'm not in Kansas City. That was his Twitter answer to me. I'm not in Kansas City. So I wrote him, and I think his name was Matt. I don't know what his fucking name was, but I go, Matt, didn't you know you were in charge of Thursday night in Kansas City? Get down here, man. And he wrote me back, and then he's like, I'm too young. What did he say? He goes, you know what? You can, if you want, I'll send you a Skype. You can Skype me and watch me listen to the last 45 minutes of this week's show.
Oh my Christ, that's funny.
And the picture, he's like 14, like he's like a young boy. It looked like in the picture. So I wrote him and I go, dude, I don't think I should even be talking to you on Twitter, let alone watching you over the internet. And he writes me back and he's like, that's okay. My mom says it's okay with internet celebrities. Or whatever the fuck he wrote. So I think he must have been older and he's kidding, but still, it was like, Jesus Christ. I said, look, I can't be watching you over Skype now that we've talked about it in a public forum. If somehow you had found me elsewhere or written me an email, maybe I'd be able to consider it if there weren't a paper trail at this point. So fuck it. So I'm talking to all these people on Twitter. And then I actually, you know what I did? I Twittered the mayor. I Twittered the fucking mayor because his name is like Sly James and his Twitter is like @Mayor Sly James. And I go, look, @Mayor Sly James, if you got the key to this city, you shouldn't lock it up so early. Pick me up. I said, I'm looking for some hot fun in the summertime, Sly. Pick me up. And I start Googling like adult bookstores and I start Googling fucking strip clubs because I'm jonesing, man. I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm just bored in my goddamn room. And people are like, they're like, oh yeah, there's adult book. There's a theater called the Strand Theater in Kansas City. And it shows porn. It's like a porn house theater. It's not like a fucking, not rooms. I'm not alone in a room. I'd actually be having a joyful camaraderie with all of the other guys watching the porn. And so in my head, I'm like, fuck, I can go to the Strand Theater, but it's like 4 miles from my hotel. And I'm like, well, fuck it. I don't care. I'll take a cab over there. But like, as I've always said, getting there is not the problem. Getting home is the problem at 3 a.m. after you walk out of there in a fucking groggy porn haze. So I'm like, maybe I'll take a fucking cab over there to the Strand. And I start looking at it. It's only 4 miles away from my hotel. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. I can do this. And then I Google the Strand. I look at their website. Closes at midnight. The fuck is wrong with your town? I barely get fucking hard before 1. If I'm in an adult bookstore, it's going to take me some time to rev up, folks. So fuck the Strand. They close at midnight. I'm looking for these other like Ray's 21 and Cincilla's or whatever, all these other fucking places, and they all close early. Like they're all. I'm like, God damn it. So then finally, there's I finally look for strip clubs. There's a strip club called Temptations, not far from the hotel. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to Temptations. I'm taking a fucking cab to Temptations, the strip club. Who cares? I'm getting the fuck out of here. Anything to be out of this hotel. And I go to turn the TV off, and on the Food Network, Sweet Genius came on. And I saw it. It started to come on. The credits were rolling, and I went, you know what? This is all the fucking porn I need tonight. I'm fat. I'll just sit in and watch dudes make cake and jerk off. That's fine. I can handle that. Saves me some goddamn money. And I did. I didn't go out. Thursday, I just did that. And then I stayed up all night until 6 in the fucking morning on the internet, of course. Crashed. Got up Friday to get ready for the show. Took a cab to the show, and my cab driver was awesome on the way to the fucking show. I show up, I grab him downstairs. He's like, where are you from, man? And I'm like, and I tell him, and he's like, where do you think I am from? I said, I don't know. I said, Ethiopia. He's like, no, man. I go, Somalia? He goes, no. He goes, I'm from China. He goes, I am black Chinese. I was like, all right. He goes, Kung Fu, man. Huh?
Black knees.
My
friend is black knees.
Black knees?
Calls himself.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, this guy was black knees. He's like, I'm black Chinese. And then he goes, Kung Fu, man. And he fucking like did the pose down. I'm like, all right. And he's like, oh, this town. He goes, it's full of so much pussy. Oh, yes. And I go, he goes, where? Because I said I was from Los Angeles. He goes, yeah. He goes, I go, well, believe me, there's plenty of pussy in Los Angeles. He goes, yes, but here the pussy is organic. And I go, hey, I want my bananas organic. I don't give a shit if my pussy's organic. I said, pussy's pussy. It's fine with me. And he's just laughing. Ha ha, my friend, Kung Fu. And he drives me to the coffee house and he's like, do you need a ride back? And he goes, it's so slow. And I go, no, I'm good. I'm here for the night. That's cool. And so I went in, checked in with the fucking Westport Coffee House Theater, went downstairs. Pam is the woman who booked me. She was not in, but her husband, Tom, runs the joint. And I walked downstairs. Tom's there and he's there with Cameron. Cameron is going to assist me with sound He's my tech guy. And Cameron is also going to, they say to Cameron, do you mind working the front of the house? And he's like, no, I can take the list and do that. So Cameron, he's like, I go, how you doing, Cameron? He goes, good. And Tom's like, yeah, my intern Cameron will help you. And he walks away. I go, Cameron, you're an intern? He goes, yeah. I go, how long you worked here, Cameron? This is my second day. So the intern, who's been there 2 days, is going to run my soundboard and do the sound checks and run the audio cues for the show. So I immediately look at him and I go, look, you're going to ruin this. I get that. But please know that you never make any mistakes. Because it's the same speech I gave to every sound guy in every town. I go, there's no wrong answer here. I'm going to tell you how to do it. We're going to run it, and I hope it goes well. But I'm not going to lose my mind if you screw up. Because you just met me. You didn't practice it. It's fine. I go, and especially you, dude. What are you, 2 days? Really? This is your second day? He goes, yeah. So I go into the showroom, and the showroom is completely empty. There's a stage with a microphone with a round bass on the stand. And but then the floor it's just a floor. There's no seats. The only seats are like theater bench seating, and they're about 30 feet from the stage toward the back of the house. So there's 30 feet between me and the seats. And I'm like, all right. Oh, hold on a second. 3 feet in a yard. That would mean that there was 10 yards. More like 15 yards. It was about 15 yards between me and the seats. And I'm like, all right, dude. So then I said, is this the only seats that they pull up? How does that work? And he goes, oh no, you got to stack the seats here on the floor. These seats all along the wall. There are seats along the wall, and I'm supposed to stack them. I was not told this. What's with these fucking theaters who think that the talent is going to go ahead and stack theater seats everywhere they goddamn go? And I go, are you serious? I have to stack them? And he goes, well, no, Cameron can do it. Cameron, you mind doing that? And Cameron's like, no, I can do it. So Cameron stacks out 40 fucking chairs. So Cameron he's doing the soundboard. He's working in front of the house, and now he's stacking chairs. And I look at Tom, and in my head, I'm just like, nice racket. You get this fucking kid here and make him do all your shit. So Tom goes up to sound check the microphone, and he goes, hey, he goes, you're doing stand-up comedy, right? And I go, well, yeah, it's kind of a show that's funny. And he goes, if you want me to go on before you, I can do that. And I was like, that would be great, Tom, if you want to do that. He goes, yeah. He goes, I can go up and I can just tell a couple jokes, just up top. And I go, I want you to do it, Tom. I really, really want you to do it. I said, that's why I flew to Kansas City, hoping that you would open for me. But at the same time, I want him to go up. I desperately want this old man to go up on stage. So he's like, no, that's okay. I won't do it. I go, you sure? I would love to have you. He's like, no, that's okay. So he walks up and does some stuff. And I look at Cameron and I go, oh, Cameron, how great would it be if he went up and did jokes? He's so funny. And Cameron laughed, thankfully. So I start doing the sound checks with Cameron. We start figuring everything out. Tom comes back in. And he goes up to check the microphone again. And I go, hey, I need a table, so let's put this up here. And it's a huge fucking wooden box. We put it up on stage, and he's testing the microphone and the stand. And then he goes, hey, test. And, I could tell some jokes. I could tell, and I go, oh, okay, well, go ahead. And he tells this joke. And he goes, why do men have testicles? And I said, I don't know, Tommy. And he goes, it's an early warning system, so you know if your toilet's going to flood over. And I go, Tommy! And he goes, you can take that one. And I said, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. I said, you sure you don't want to stick around and do some time, man? Oh my God. He's like, no, you can take that one. I go, cool, thanks. So we set the room up. And then they tell me that next door there's a burger joint, and they'll give $1 off every beer for anybody who comes in. And he goes, yeah, and during intermission. And I go, there is no intermission. He goes, you do 3 hours without an intermission? And I go, yeah, I know. It's a bit long. And he goes, how do you do that? How can you talk that long? Like, we don't have bands that play that long. And I go, yep. I go, well, weirdly enough, people actually kind of like it. I said, it's not like I'm forcing people to sit in their chairs. They can leave if they'd like. He's like, wow, that's just crazy. So we go in the back, and then he immediately comes in the back with Cameron, and he goes, is music going to bother you? And I'm like, no. So he then cranks up this jazz music at like an ungodly, it's a trio, and it's jazz. It's true jazz in that none of them are listening to one another. It's a horn player, a bass player, and a drummer, and they're all doing their own fucking thing at the same goddamn time. It sounds like someone threw the instruments down the stairs. But it's true jazz, and it's happening, and I guess it's some video that they had taped, some band that had been there earlier in the week, and he's teaching Cameron how to mix and how to use the soundboard while I'm sitting in the back trying to write jokes. And it was my fault because I said it wouldn't bother me, and I guess it didn't really bother me, but it sort of did because I didn't realize it was going to be this loud fucking jazz clamor. I thought he was going to play my pre-show music, but he didn't. So then Tom leaves, and it's just me and Cameron, and we run the beats, and we run the sound check, and I go, look, you're going to mess this up. I know you are. Just try not to, and everything will be fine. So that was fine. I sat in the back. I'm writing jokes, and I don't hear my pre-show music. It's now 7:40. Show's supposed to start at 8. And I see a tweet that mentions me, and it's from this guy, John. And it says, I'm going to be close enough to the 40-year-old boy where he can punch me tonight. From the size of this crowd, it looks like he might want to. And it's a picture of an empty room with just a mic stand. And it's 7:40. Show starts in 20 minutes. And part of me is a little disappointed, quite frankly, because at this point, I said there were only 12 seats sold on Monday. By showtime, there were 38 seats sold. So 26 more sold during the week. So I know 38 had sold, but apparently everybody was coming late or on the same bus. Maybe Shaky Shuttle guy got them and fucking drove them off. I get no clue. Maybe Scott had to pick them up in 1992 and drive them all in. So he had to pick them up at a Jamiroquai concert and bring them over. So I'm, and also part of me, I won't lie, is pissed at John for exposing my humiliation to the world. From the size of this crowd, he's going to want to hit somebody. Ha ha ha, he sucks. Nobody comes to see a show ever. That's how I read it, by the way, in that voice. And I heard, and my pre-show music isn't playing, and I'm in the back, and I'm just like, what the fuck? So I'm sitting there, I wait a couple minutes, and then it's like quarter till, and now I'm just going to tell Cameron, put the fucking pre-show music on. Even if it's an empty fucking room, I want to hear it. Because the whole point is I'm in the back, and I get to hear the music too, and it gets me ready. So I go and I walk outside, I walk into the showroom, and there's like 35 people there. They're just there. It's just, they're sitting there. They're just they're the quietest people in the fucking world. And the pre-show music is on, but he's got it on like a half. Like if it goes from 0 to 11, it's on a half. And I go, Cameron, turn the music up. So he turns the music up, and already the first 2 songs are gone. He turns it way up. And I go use the restroom, and I go back to the fucking write some jokes. And I also, by the way, I should say this. It's funny. I went walking back to to go write some jokes, and there was a big padded wooden post, like a beam. And whenever I see stuff like that, I touch things. I touch ceilings, I touch doorknobs, whatever. Well, whenever I see a big padded beam, I will clothesline it with my arm. Just let my arm bounce off of it with no real heat behind it. Because it'll hit the meaty part of my arm on the padding, and it's all fun for everybody, or for me anyway, because there's nobody else around. I don't care. So I'm walking, and there's the beam, and I go to hit this padded wooden beam, and once I do, I realize it's a non-padded metal beam, and the fat part of my arm doesn't hit it. My wrist bone hits it. So you can still see the bruise here. My arm just immediately starts bruising because I fucking just bang it, and you hear like a pong, and I'm like, oh, that's my bone. And I go in the back, and I start rubbing my arm furiously. I'm like, you are stupid. Write some jokes. And Cameron pokes his head in the back, and I'm like, all right, well, we'll go about 10 after. And he comes back at 5 after. And I go, just come back, whatever song is there, we'll figure out which is the last song. So You're So Vain is playing. It's on my pre-show mix this week. And it starts ending, and he comes in the back, and he goes, this will be the last song? Yes, Cameron, this will be the last song. Fine, whatever you want to do. So he goes out there, because I don't want the song cut off in the middle. I've talked about that a million times. So I go out to do the by the door, and he cuts it off, and then he hits the theme, and I walk out and did the show. And like I said, there was 38 people there. There were no walk-ups. People bought tickets on the internet. Well, there were 38 tickets sold. I found out later some people did not attend. They couldn't come. They wrote me afterwards. But still, the room, it's a small room, so it looked like a healthy amount of people. Oh, and I should tell you this. Tom asked if he could tape me. And I said, Tom, there's not going to be a big enough crowd for it to make any difference to me. And he goes, well, I would just do it, like to test our equipment. I go, so for free? And he goes, well, yeah, I could tape you. It's just the camera's all set up, and I just got to push a button. I go, if it's no hassle for you, yeah, tape me. I'd love it. He goes, yeah, it works out great, and then I can put it on our Vimeo page. I go, no, Tom, if you tape me, it's mine. You do not get any of it. I go, I'll write up a sheet, and you can sign it if you want. He goes, no, that's okay. If you don't want it up, I won't put it up. I said, okay, so go ahead and tape me. So I went out and did the show, and, and this is the part of the show went great. I was really excited about it. I anticipated, well, a smaller crowd, and I didn't do much in Kansas City. I mean, I dealt with the guy in the shuttle, and then I didn't get any Vice. I didn't get to go out. But I wound up talking, and I did the show, and the show lasted 3 hours and 20 minutes. Like, I mean, it was ridiculous. And I was real happy with how it went. You know, the final story it hit hard, and everything went real good. So I was real happy. Show ended, and I said, hey, look, I'll be back out. But I didn't have any shirts to sell. So I said, I'll take photos, whatever you need. I go, you can leave or stay, whatever you got to do. So I go in the back because I have to decompress after the show a little bit. And I wait for the music to end. And I walk back outside, and nobody has left. Everyone is still sitting in their seats, like school. It was hilarious. They're all just sitting there. So I walk up, and and I should say, on stage, I mentioned that Tom wanted to do jokes, and I did Tom's joke on stage for the crowd. So then when I start meeting and greeting people and talking to them, Tom shows up. And I go, hey, Tom, how you doing? And he goes, good. And he goes, how did it go? And I said, I thought it was great. And he goes, good. He goes, if you want, I could go up and do my joke. I said, Tom already did it. And I start shaking hands with everybody. And when he said I could go up and do my joke, everybody laughed because they knew I had told them that he wanted to do time. I told them all of it. Because people think that I'm going to go there and just have a set act and talk and not deal. And no, believe me, you're in. So I met everybody, and I shook hands. I took pictures with, like I mentioned, Terry already and Greg. They were there, and John showed up for the show. And Daniel, there was a guy named Daniel, and he had written me when I first started talking about doing a one-man. His wife, Julie, is a performer, and he's like, she would be able to really help you structure it and get it. And I was like, well, I'm interested. I don't know what the show is yet, but I'm happy to talk about it and all this stuff. And this is last time I talked to him was in 2010, and then he never wrote me back, like on Facebook. We had exchanged a few emails about they produced shows and he wanted to be involved, and then they disappeared. So he and his wife come up to me, and they were very complimentary. And they said, they had a kid and life took over, but Julie's still a performer, and I told her, I go, well, write me. Tell me what you thought of the show. She's like, I think you got something here, which was nice. And David Cook came, our host of the Jaeger Bomb cast. He made the drive in, brought two friends who were not happy, but that's fine. This is the thing, as I talk about doing the show for you guys who know me and like what I do. If you bring a girlfriend or a friend who doesn't know me, it can be a thing sometimes, but a lot of the times I'm finding out that like 90% of the time I win them over. The other 10% of the time they're polite and they shake my hand and they probably yell at you on the way home. Well, I was on stage and David was in the front row with his friend. And as I'm talking, a guy walks in and he walks down the stairs. I have to deal with it. So I walks in and I go, hey, you're late. We held the show just for you, but you're late. And he looks at me and he goes, you know what? Just go ahead and do your thing. And that is the worst thing I hate in comedy clubs is when anyone causes a disturbance or shows up late and you talk to them and they go, just do your shtick and leave me out of it, like that bullshit. And he's checking his phone. Like he walks in and he goes, just do your show, whatever. And he starts texting, and I wanted to fight. Like I really, because he was wearing a leather vest and he looked tough. And I'm like, well, I could fight that dude and it wouldn't be a problem. You know what I mean? I'm ready to go round and round with that guy. But in my head, I go, what are you doing? Don't ruin the show early. Because it was in the first 5 minutes. And I ignored it. And then I ignored the next 3 hours and 20 minutes as he sat there and didn't laugh once. And just had a straight puss on his face. And then afterwards, when I talked to David, Dave was real nice and complimentary. I took some photos with him, and his other friend was like, "Yeah, you did a good job. You did pretty good." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man," because they don't know what I do. And the other guy was like, "Hey, I'm sorry about busting your balls, but if you come in the middle of the show, I have to." He's like, well, yeah, nice to meet you." Like he didn't say good show or, he couldn't wait to get the fuck out. And part of me wanted to go. I literally wanted to walk out and hand him $20 and go upstairs and drink. There's coffee upstairs. There's burgers and beer next door. Go. I'll be done. And your friends will be out. But I have to resist the urge to do that because you can't do that to people. People have paid to come to a show. And so, and everybody else wants to see a show. They don't want to see me fucking engage some dude in a brawl. Idiot. I just felt like a dumbass. But I was able to get through it, thankfully. Even though I just tried not to look over at him. I would look at David and not look at that dude because I wanted to fight him so bad or just yell at him or say some shit, whatever. I don't want to fight anybody anymore. Danielle showed up. Our friend Danielle was there. She was very nice. And oh my gosh, Audrey, I'm sorry, Abry, God damn it. I don't remember her girlfriend's name, but they came out and it was so nice. And I'm sorry, again, I apologize going off the top of my head. And I started to take pictures of everybody. Everybody was very nice. And it's so funny. I tell everybody to take 2 pictures. And in I'll smile in one, and then I'm usually kind of smirky in the other. And then people put stuff up on Facebook. Everybody use the smile photos. Like everybody will put them up. There's no, except for, Michael. All right, let me tell you about Michael. Michael took a stew look photo. He's like, we got to do a stew look. So we did a double stew look. Michael is the guy who wrote me and said, I want you to be the beneficiary of my death benefits. So he comes up to me after the show. He's like, hey, death benefits. And I was like, holy shit. And he goes, you still want to do that? I go, yes. Yes, I do. And he goes, I got the paperwork in the car. I go, sign it up. Bring it in. Let's do it. I am absolutely the beneficiary of your death benefits. That's great. And he goes, all right, there's a problem. And I go, what? And he goes, they need your social security number. I go, what? He goes, yeah, they need all your information, your address, your social security number, all your info. I go, why do they need my social? I'll give you my address and everything, and he's just like, yeah, there's just no getting around it. He goes, you probably don't want to do it now. And I go, I can't. I go, no offense. I go, I don't know you. And I go, my wife would kill me. I go, I'm stupid enough to where I would do it. I go, but Karen would kill me if I told her that I did this. And he just goes, yeah, I figured. And I go, plus, what if this whole thing's a fucking long con from you to try to get my goddamn social security number? What if you made up the whole story? There are no death benefits. And he just started laughing. He's like, yeah, you know what? I should have fucking done that. I go, maybe you did. Maybe you did, Michael. But he was nice. I shook his hand. I took pictures with him. And I took pictures of everybody, and it cleared out. And finally, all the people that were left were Scott and Kay, his girlfriend Kay, and then Nate, who is a self-proclaimed super fan. Nate has heard every word I've ever said on the internet. Jordan Jesse Go, those shows, Gil Martin's shows, all the. He said he's heard every single appearance I've ever done on any podcasts. And he wanted to talk about, he produces podcasts himself. I think he does like 4 different ones. His wife, I believe it was his wife, she was out of town. She was in Ireland. So he's like, yeah, man, I'd like to hang out. I said, great. So Scott and Kay and Nate and I decided, and Scott, Jesus, I cannot thank Scott enough for everything that he did. He's like, I know you don't want to drink, so we can go eat somewhere. The closest place is a place called Chubby's Diner. And I said, I'm in. I don't care. I just want to go sit. Let's go. Because I'd been standing up for 3.5 hours or 4.5 hours after the meet and greet. So we go. We tell Nate to meet us. I hop in the 1992 Mobile. We drive over to fucking Chubby's. We walk in, and we sit down. And I couldn't decide what food to order. Like I opened up. It was Chubby's Diner. They had a ton of. It was a diner, so they had all sorts of breakfasts. But then they had like breaded steak sandwiches, and then they had fucking meatloaf sandwiches, all sorts of stuff. And then they had a homemade chicken soup. So I couldn't decide what to get. So fucking Scott was getting pie a la mode, and Kay was going to get biscuits and gravy. And I'm looking at the thing, and I go, and this is what I ordered. So stupid. I ordered a cup of chicken soup, a bagel with cream cheese, and a side of grits. It was just like, I was like, yeah, let's do that. I'll make a grit sandwich, and I'll have some soup. And the woman's like, okay, and she writes it down. And then she walks away, and then I went, you know what, cancel it. I bring the soup, and I'm still figuring what else I want. And Nate never showed up. Nate's not there, and we're like, why the fuck? Because I guess there's 2 Chubbies, and we had told him what Chubbies to go to. So I pulled out my phone because Nate, I don't have his phone number or anything, and he's not on Facebook, but he's on Twitter with me. And he Twittered me. He's like, hey, I got a back booth. I wish I couldn't get the big corner booth. So I'm like, I'm typing out, where are you? And Kay goes and looks for him. She finds him. He's on the other side of the fucking restaurant. We'd been there fucking 15 minutes without him. He had already ordered. He ordered fries at his table. So they had to bring the fries over to our table. And then I'm trying to figure out what to eat. They bring everybody's food. They bring my soup. The soup was awesome. I was going to get just more soup, like another bowl of soup. But then I wanted a breakfast sandwich because they had a Chubby's muffin, which was like an egg muffin with eggs and bacon and cheese on it. And then I'm like, no, I'll just eat this soup. And then Nate's like, hey, you want to split something? I'm like, yeah, I'm like your date, kind of, I guess. Let's do that. So he wanted a breaded steak. We decided on a breaded steak sandwich. Not he ordered, we decided. And we got the breaded steak sandwich and with sweet potato fries. And it's giant. It's the Chubby's Diner. It's because it's a diabetes center. You're going to die if you eat there. All the food is huge. And they bring the food out, and they bring this breaded steak, and I couldn't eat it. I ate like 3 bites of the breaded steak, and I ate some fries. But I just, I don't eat all day, but then when I get I couldn't decide. I was just undecided. So we hung out. Nate was great. And then the check comes. Fucking Nate pays the bill. I was like, dude, what are you doing? You don't have to do that. And then he paid for Scott and everybody. And Nate was so, and because he had just told me some story about how he had his job. He had left his job because it wasn't going well. I'm like, dude, if you're not doing well at your job, he goes, no, I'm doing great at my job. You just said you're doing freelance tech stuff. He goes, yeah, I am. And I'm making great money at it. I go, but you just said you gave your boss a speech where you understood your weaknesses and now you had to focus on your strengths. He goes, yeah. And so now I'm focusing on my strengths and I've been doing that for like however long at this job and I'm great at it. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, pay for the bill then. I'm going to shut the fuck up. So he pays for the food and we hung out and then Nate had to take off. So Nate took off. So it was just me, Scott, and Kay. And Scott, by the way, also, he said he would take me to the airport. Because he told me Thursday, he's like, I don't know. And I go, you got to tell me. I go, if you don't want to, I don't mind, but I need to make plans if you're not gonna. You can't tell me at midnight that you're not gonna take me because then I'm fucked. I got to dig up some fucking ride. And he's like, no, I'm in. So we sat at Chubby's till 2:30 in the morning, and we split. We went and dropped Kay off. We went back to the hotel, and thankfully he found a parking spot right out front. We went inside, and I go, all right, let's go. And he's like, well, I'll wait in the lobby for you. I go, you can. I'm just going to pack my stuff, dude. It's fine. You can come upstairs. I got to pack the room up. I haven't done it yet. He goes, no, I'll wait down here. I'm like, all right, dude. So I go upstairs and my phone rings. He goes, hey, I'm going to come up. I'm like, all right. He goes, 9/11, right? I go, never forget. He comes upstairs. And I let him in and he's like, yeah, there's no restroom in the lobby. And I go, well, there's a restroom in here. Go ahead. So I pack everything up, getting everything squared away. And we get down to the lobby. He's like, hey, I don't have pictures of me and you. Can you do it with your phone? Like, can you hold it out, at arm's length? And I go, yeah. So I took 3 pictures. And he said, can you get them to me? I go, yeah, I'll just text them to your phone. He goes, I don't text. So he's like, can you just email them or post them on the Facebook page or something? And I'm like, I'm not putting them on the Facebook page. That's ridiculous. Here's 3 pictures of me, stupid. I go, I'll get them to you. And here, I still haven't. They're still in my phone. I know, and he actually wrote me, he's like, I really would like those pictures. And I feel like an asshole about it, but it's like, because to me, it's just easier to text, you know what I mean? But now, because I don't plug in my laptop at the house and they're only on my laptop and I got to do it. I'll do it tonight. Scott, you'll have the pictures tonight. By the time this airs, you'll have the pictures. What are you shrugging at me for?
You don't know how to email a picture from your
Yes,
phone?
I do, but it's easier to just text, bang. Oh, I guess I could do it from my phone.
You just hit send email and you typed and you started.
Yeah, but I think he's on only Facebook. I don't know if I have his actual email address. I'll check. What the
How
fuck?
about if I just print them for you and you can mail them to me?
Why don't, you know what? Actually, here's a better idea. Why don't I hand them off to Sipowicz? And then he and Jimmy Smits can then run them over to the ER where George Clooney and Noah Wiley could possibly swing them over by, I'm sure he'll be driving by them at some point, right? He'll probably be driving by the hospital there at the ER. So George Clooney and Noah Wiley could go out and hand them to him as he passes by in his vehicle. As long as I hope he doesn't realize that they're going to take the club from him and steal his car. Jesus Christ. What's that fucking Keanu Reeves movie with the magic mailbox? Is there one that goes back to 1992? I'll just throw him in there. God damn it. I'll throw him in the Wonka boat. So I'll get you your picture, Scott. Okay, that's the bottom line. Because Stone Cold fucking said so. So he drops me at the airport, the tiny, tiny airport in Kansas City. I go through the fucking security. Everything was great. Not a problem again. No belt. I didn't have to take my belt off. Small town America does not care about terrorists. Or certainly fat terrorists, at least. So I go through, I get ready to get on the plane, and I grab a bottle of water, and I decide I'll take my chances again. So I go to the desk, and I go, hey, I don't know if you're doing anything nice. I'm wondering if there's a way that I could get a seat on the right-hand side of the plane window, but with nobody in the middle seat next to me. She starts clacking away. She goes, their only one is an exit row. And I go, but that's an extra charge, right? She goes, nah, we need people in the exit rows. So like it isn't like last night it would have been, but I can probably get you in there without it. Is that okay? There's nobody in the middle seat next to you. I said, yeah, I don't care about legroom. I just care about people next to me. She goes, yeah, fine. She shreds it and gives me the new boarding pass. I get on. I'm in the exit row and there's no seat in front of me. Like it's one of those things where you're in the 3 exit row and in front of you there's only 2 seats and I'm on the window and there's nothing in front of me. I could have laid down on the floor. It was fucking gorgeous. Glorious. So there's nobody next to me and I'm sitting there and then 2 people get on the plane and they sit right next to me. God damn it, what the fuck are you doing? I was just assured nobody was next to me. And in front of us, the 2 seats, there's nobody in them. And I'm like, get the fuck out of these seats. Get the fuck. Then again, I don't give a shit because if you're not supposed to be in that seat, you're just stealing it. Whatever the fuck. I don't care about inconveniencing you. So I sit there. I got my feet all sprawled out. I'm ready to go to sleep. And sure enough, they close the doors, and the 2 of them get up and they get in the seats in front of me. So I got a full exit row to myself. They come over and they give me the speech. They're like, "Hey, can you handle the door?" And I'm like, Z's. I don't care. I'm asleep. I said in my head, I'm just like, I am so looking forward to sleeping through this and dooming everyone on board. I don't care. But I'm just like, yes, absolutely, I can't wait. So I go to sleep. And I closed my eyes and I woke up in Phoenix. Like, I didn't even wake up once on the flight. I didn't see apple juice, nothing. I just crashed. So I land in Phoenix and I get off the plane and I look over and the flight to Los Angeles is at 7:45 and I'm there at 7 o'clock. So I'm like, perfect. I got 45 minutes. I walk through. I go to the A terminal. I'm in the B terminals where we land. I go all the way through. You got to walk to the A terminal, whatever the fuck, moving walkways. I get there. And it's still a zoo in the Phoenix airport, even this early. But again, 45 minutes, I can deal. I can do that. Actually, you know what? It was an hour. It was because it was 7:45. I got there at like 6:50. So I had an hour to kill. So I get over to the gate, the Los Angeles gate. I go over and there's a burrito place called, and they had fucking short rib burritos in the morning. And I'm like, I got to get a burrito. I'm not hungry. I just had fucking Chubby's Diner an hour ago, but I didn't. Should I throw it up and make some room? Maybe I should. It seems to be a theme. But I go to get a burrito and I get in line. And this pissed me. They had the flyaway burritos, and then they had the little sit down in the house burrito. So I go to flyaway burritos, and we're all standing there, and a manager comes over and he goes, "I'm very sorry, this is closed." We're like, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, there's a problem with our register." He goes, "We'd like you to sit in our restaurant, please." So everyone goes and sits at tables, and I'm like, "Dude, I want a flyaway burrito. I don't want a sit down burrito. I don't want to tip somebody for a fucking burrito. Give me a burrito so I can go sit the fuck down." And I'm like, "Can I order food to go?" And he's like, "Nah, you got to sit down at the table." And I'm like, "Goodbye." I walk out. So I go and I sit at the fucking gate and I'm killing time, trying not to fall asleep. And so they start calling zones and all that. And there was nobody next to me. I had made sure remember when I got the exit row, I said, "Can you do the connecting flight?" She goes, "Yeah, there's nobody next to you." So I said, "Great." So I had taken care of that. And I'm like, this is the final stretch. I'm just going to leave Phoenix and head to fucking LA and everything's going to be perfect. I can't wait. There's nobody next to me. I'm waiting. So finally they start boarding zone 1, zone 2. I'm in zone 4. So they call zone 4. I get in line and I'm walking, or zone 3 or zone 4. Who fucking cares? I'm walking to the front and, I get to the front. I hand the guy my ticket and it goes blank. It like makes a noise. And he goes, And he takes it and he runs it through the scanner again. He goes, blank, like makes a noise. And he looks at it and he goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Well, this is Long Beach." And I go, "Yeah, I know. It says right on the ticket, Long Beach. I'm going to Long Beach." He goes, "Yeah, you're at the Los Angeles gate." When I got off the plane, I just assumed I was going home to Los Angeles. And I looked at the departures and I went to the Los Angeles gate in the B terminal or in the A terminal. And I go, where's the Long Beach flight?" He goes, "It leaves, you got 10 minutes. It's in the B terminal." I walked away and I didn't check any bags. So I've got all my bags. I got my rolly bag and my laptop in my other bag. And I just run. Dead sprint. Because it's 7:27 when I do this. And my flight leaves at 7:40. I fucking dead sprint. I run as fast as I can, flailing fucking luggage, OJing, jumping. And I've got to run all the way through the A terminal. All the way down this hallway, past, with the 4 moving walkways. That's how long it is. 4 moving walkways. I got to go through all of that and get to the B terminal. And then I've got to get to B4 and there's B1 through 15 and then there's B16 through 30. And I've got to get to, I've got to get to B26. It's all the way at the end or whatever. I just start running and I'm running and I'm running. And, I make it, I turn around, I get to B and I'm running and I'm fucking breathing heavy, like fucking, cause I'm dragging all my stuff and I'm fat and I'm running and, I get to the gate area and there's nobody sitting there. And I look and I go, is the plane here? She goes, "It's gone." And I look at my watch, it's 7:34. So I made it in 7 minutes. I ran and I go, "Why is it gone? It leaves at 7:40. She goes, "It's in the air at 7:40. I go, "I was just boarding the Los Angeles flight. It leaves at 7:45. They're still scanning people." She goes, "Yeah, they're late. We're not." And I missed my flight. There was going to be nobody sitting next to me. It was the final stretch. It was the glorious final stretch in my escape from Phoenix. And I looked at her and I go, "How soon can you get me out of here?" And she goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "Long Beach, but I'll go to Los Angeles." I go, "Either one's fine. I'd prefer Los Angeles." She goes, "I can't, Los Angeles, I can't do until like 4 p.m. And she pulls up Long Beach. She goes, I can get you on a 10:10 Long Beach. I said, I know I can't ask for any favors. Is there any seat on the right-hand side of the plane with nobody next to me in the middle seat? And she's like, she goes, it's not a full flight. She goes, so give me your boarding pass. She goes, okay, so right now there's nobody even in the row with you. You should be fine. But I don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 hours. I said, okay. And I just fucking sat down, pouring sweat, and just furious. And I kept coughing because I was running and breathing heavy. And I'm not used to that. So it opened up my throat. So it's like, it feels like there's smoke and grain in my throat. And I'm just sitting there furious because there's nothing worse than being a dumb fuck. It's your own fucking fault. Like if the airline did it, I could sit here and bitch all day about them. No, I'm stupid. I got off the plane, saw Los Angeles, and just walked all the way to the other. I literally was 2 gates from where I landed. I walked all the way to the other terminal. Didn't even get a burrito out of it. So she gives me the Long Beach ticket. It's at A11. It's all the way back where I ran from. So I fucking just walked over there, and I like I said, I get there at 7:50, and my flight's in 2.5 hours, whatever the fuck, 10:15. And I just sat there and waited. I fell asleep. Sitting up, and I was pissed. Like I was ready to fight. Like I was mad. Some dude walks by while I'm sleeping, and he steps on my foot, and I'm like, watch it. I'm like, because I was just in a fucking rage mood, like ready to go. Because it was my own fault. I'm just pissed at me. And I just sat there furious, listening to Sugar by System of a Down over and over again, understanding exactly why 9/11 happened. I don't even think they intended to hijack the planes. I'm not kidding. I think they just decided they were ready to fly. They were doing fine. They enjoyed America. They loved it. But then on Muhammad Atta's iPod, System of a Down played Sugar, and he said, let's divide into teams and take care of business. Because I just sat there fuming going, yeah, I could probably get in the cockpit if I wanted to. God damn it. Awful. So then I got on the plane, and luckily nobody was next to me. Escaped Phoenix and was able to bring the tale to you. It sounds ridiculous. Like you've been waiting forever. Oh my God, we must hear the tale of Kansas City. It was great. I had a fantastic time. I can't thank everybody enough for coming out and stepping up late and buying tickets because I was pretty worried. I thought it'd be an empty room. But you guys came out. I loved every second of it. I got to thank Scott. He really stepped up. From the scoreboard thing was unbelievable. Bringing me to the game, paying for barbecue, shuffling me around in his time machine. I mean, it was just so cool. And everybody who came up to me at the show wanted to take pictures and meet me. Thank you so much. Toronto, you're on the clock. And you got a long way to go to beat Kansas City as the best town I ever threw up in. You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can be my friend on Facebook.com/the40year-old-boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40year-old-boy. You can follow our friend Lily Von Stupp at 2 Twitter accounts, Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp and Twitter.com/MNTs. Be her friend at Facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp. Be our friend David Hernandez's friend at Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. And if you want to write Lily a personal note and find out exactly what body part on her is refillable, you can write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com. His name is Joe Vilwalk. His name is Joe Vilwalk. His name is Joe Evil. His name is Ben Schultz. His name is Ben Schultz. His name is Ben Schultz. Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. How's my voice? How's my voice doing? Still good? It was good earlier, but it's been a while. I've been doing a lot of talking. 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine every Monday night at 10 o'clock. It's the longest running, greatest, most unbelievable burlesque show in the history of burlesque, certainly in Los Angeles. I happen to know the producer of that show. Very good friend of mine. Her name is Lily Von Stupp. Hey, Lily.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, glad you thought about it. Big show this past week, right? There was a lot of grads and dads and people like that. Yeah.
All the girls from Lily School for Wayward Girls. It was fabulous.
And you were the headmistress, from what I understand?
I am the headmistress of the school.
Your sash said so.
Yeah.
So you've got a show coming up this week. Is it a fancy theme show or a regular show? A awesome show?
It's an awesome show. There's no theme. It's 8 burlesque dancers, one debut by Bo Toxic. I cannot wait to see her. She's a student of mine as well.
Nice.
And very lucky to have Dave Cox with us. He magician, comedy magic, and did Velvet Hammer way back when.
Oh, nice.
It's nice to see him come back into the burlesque fold.
Dave Cox or David Cox?
Dave Cox.
Dave Cox. So you can find him, I'm sure, at a website or something like that online.
I believe it is thedavecoxshow.com.
The Dave Cox Show or DaveCoxShow.com. Look him up or just Google Dave Cox. I'm sure you'll find him right away. Make sure you include the Dave and please use an X.
Don't use an apostrophe. It's not Dave's Cox.
Yeah. Oh, please. Yeah, stay away from that. Or you could do that. You could do that, but they won't be appearing next week. Oh, all right. Hope so. So that'll be good. And are you hosting? Are you involved?
I may or may not be dancing. It all depends. I'm not sure yet.
Depends on your sash when it gets back from the cleaners.
You know, it depends on whether or not there's a casting person in the audience.
Oh, well.
If the casting person that wants to see me live comes, then I'll perform. If they're not, then I'm not going to.
Okay.
I'm going to their place to audition.
Oh, nice. Cool. All right, well, go check that out. And remember when you get there, if you see Lily, tell her you're from the 40-Year-Old Boy Show. Smack her ass. She'll get in free.
No.
Okay. And what you saying?
No.
Oh, okay. I did the Comedy Film Nerds book signing the other day. And Jason and Toby, a couple of guys who were fans of the show, came out. They've seen me live. Jason seen me the live show a couple of times. Toby, I think, has seen it just once, maybe. But they were like, I said, I think I'm going over to the Tees after this. And they were like, oh, I don't know if there are any tickets available. I said, well, I was just going to walk in. And they're like, do we have to smack her in the ass? And I was like, they might not have said that. I might be projecting, but still. I could see it in their eyes. Although I'm sure that Jason's girlfriend Lily would not have been happy because he dates a Lily. He is with a Lily. So what the hell? Who cares? Interchangeable lilies. That's the life of a Jason. So remember to go to the Monday Night Tees, and you can go to MondayNightTees.com for all information. Correct? Tickets and stuff. Just go ahead and surf the net. I won't talk to you anymore. All right. Remember, you can go to the Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy page to become my friend, to leave me a note, to write me things, to become a person who likes one of the Bring Mike Schmidt 2 pages. Detroit still exists. I have no leads. People have been very nice and sent me places, and then I just call these places and nobody returns calls or they just say no. So that's fun. Still trying in Detroit, other cities as well. I think I have a lead on another city that's going to be coming up soon. I'm excited about that. Just waiting to hear back via email. That will be a return engagement, but I'm not going to go into that. I can tell you, though, that I am returning to Milwaukee. Not really. I'm actually playing in Green Bay. Well, let's start at the beginning. First of all, in 2 weeks, as I mentioned, I will be in Toronto. At the Comedy Bar in Toronto, Canada. I would love to sell more tickets just to show them that I can do it. So tickets are available at brownpapertickets.com for Mike Schmidt in Toronto, June 29th. That's a Friday night. I think the show is at 7:30, and you can come out and check me out. I'm still trying to hear back from them regarding the show that's after me. I didn't think there was supposed to be one. Still trying to figure that out. But I know my show starts at 7:30 at Comedy Bar, and I hope you guys can come out, buy some tickets at brownpapertickets.com. I know people already have, thank you, but I'd love to sell more. Because then, if they boot me out and they have a late show, I can go, look at the fucking crowd, you just booted out of here, dude. I need to shut up before they cancel the whole fucking gig. All right, so... That's Toronto. That's on June 29th. And then remember that July 27th, I am at the Indie Fringe Theater in Indianapolis, Indiana. Tickets are not moving for that. Go ahead and pick those up. And granted, it's 6 weeks away, but still, buy a ticket or two just to make me think that it's not going to be just me talking to corn. That would be great. And then, as I've mentioned, I will be in Green Bay, Wisconsin at the Venture Theater, September 14th. That's a Friday night. The show's at 8 o'clock. Tickets are on sale now at Brown Paper Tickets for all of these shows. Venture Theater, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Friday, September 14th. Indie Fringe Theater, Indianapolis, Friday, July 27th. And Toronto Comedy Bar, June 29th. That show's at 7:30. Tickets available at Brown Paper Tickets. Go buy those right now. Go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com and go to the Joe Business page. You can get to the Zazzle store and buy our mugs. We have the Thorgar and Yeep mug and the Fireboy mug. We have tweakedaudio.com/40 who have been nice enough to sponsor the show for over 2 years now. I'm figuring out a promotion with them, and by that I mean I haven't contacted them about their offer to do a promotion. But I will soon. And I like it, the fact that you guys are still using the link and buying it using the code 40. Thank you. tweakedaudio.com/40. tweakedaudio.com/40. Did I say that? Yeah. That's where you can get earbuds, autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds, and cockring watches. Pick those up now. And also on that page, there's the download sets available for sale. You can go with year 1, year 2, year 3, or year 4, which is available now. And also the Podcast of the Caribbean set, which includes On Stranger Mics and Curse of the Black Schmidt and all sorts of amazing shows. So go ahead and pick those up. Year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4, only $75. Normally $100. Not normally at all. No, they're $25 each, or you can buy all 4 for $75. What do you care? You guys don't care. You're like, I'm listening to you for free, dude. I'm not giving you a fucking dime. Good for you. Way to go. Way to support art. Art? Probably should have had a question mark in there, but way to support me. How about that? And also, remember that the LA Podfest is in October. Is it lapodfest.com? La Podfest, I think it is. Yeah, just Google Los Angeles Podcast Festival and you'll find the website. Tickets are on sale now for that show. There's, Mark Maron is going to be there, Kevin Smith, Adam Carolla. I hope there are no lady podcasters on there because Adam Carolla will not be happy. And remember, I will be there as well. Doing a show. Never Not Funny, I believe they're going to be there doing shows. And then there's a big stand-up thing. It's a meet and greet. It's beefaroni, beefaghetti, beefaroni, beefaghetti. It's 2 meals in one, folks. The LA Podcast Festival. So get tickets now. Pick those up. That'll be fantastic. But before you buy those tickets, folks, again, buy tickets to Toronto. Come and see me there. Because again, Toronto, I'm going to Canada. I can't wait. I'm excited. And I can tell you this right now. Well, Thursday night, I know I'm going to the baseball game. I'm going to the Blue Jays game, but right now I'm going alone. So if anybody wants to go to the game, tell me. Although Michael Woods might be going with me, I'm not sure. I said his whole name. That was smart. He's picking me up at the airport. I know that. And then I have nothing Wednesday, and then Thursday's the game, and then Friday's the show. And Saturday, I'm going to stick around and settle in, and we're going to go to a porn store because it's Canada, right? You got porn. Actually, I'm pissed because I was going to go to the fucking, was it the Combat Zone? Is that what I heard about? But I heard that Toronto cleaned up their act. Like, there's no porn there. There's no Vice. There is, but it's all, again, the same deal. It's like, you're the Kansas City of Canada, Toronto. What the fuck? You're closing down early. You're getting everything fucking out of the way. It's not what I want to do. I want to show up and see, I've been told about peeler bars. I want to go there. But then every time I Google them, I try to find some research. Everybody's like, the peeler bars in Toronto suck. Now, Montreal, that's where you're going to get your smoked meat, which I'm excited about. I wish I was going to get some smoked meat, but apparently in Toronto, it's just, it's all, I guess, grim. That's the word I would use. Not like Octomom porno grim, but still grim enough, for fuck's sake. I made Lily watch the Octomom porno. That's why I bring it up. We watched the clip. We didn't watch the whole porno. Hold on a second. I got to clarify. Before I got here, Lily and I sat here for 2 hours and watched the Octomom jerk herself off. No, there's a clip that leaked online, and leaked is a great word for the Octomom. And she's got her hand in her shorts. You got to see it. It's so pathetically bad. And I will say this, Lily thought her tits were sad, but I didn't think so. I didn't think, she's okay. I mean, it's like, for what I saw, she's okay because you know why? They're not showing the horror show. That's the thing. In the clip, the only thing you're paying for the Octomom porn is to see that motherfucking moon bounce she calls a vagina, right? I mean, because the rest of her body is okay, and you're like, okay, there's her tits, and she looks like a normal person, but her face, of course, is amped up with a bunch of collagen, and it's all fucked up. Like I see her mouth, let's put it this way, I see her mouth, and it's all collagened up and swollen, and I'm like, I know where she got the idea for that. Believe me, I definitely know where she got the idea for that. Because that vagina has to be a horror show, right? Holy God, it's just got to be... I literally, that porno, you got to watch it. She's got to take her pants off. And then Carl Sagan's ghost has to come out and tell you about the cosmos and point to the fucking gigantic vagina and how we're getting to you don't want to talk about the pale blue dot. Gaze into the Octomom's vagina and you're going to see the pale blue dot right there in the distance. Just all of your entire life, everybody you've ever loved in your entire life is right there in the middle of a sunbeam, right there, directly in the center of the Octomom's fucking gap. Oh, God. Who paid for that? And they want like $25. And again, like I said, the clip online is just her tits. And you're like, okay, who cares? Show me the moon bounce. because I have a tone. Because you know why? Because I talk quickly and I don't fucking think. That's why. I think that's what it means when you have a tone. Is you don't fucking bother to care what comes flying out of your goddamn mouth. I try to grow the show and I want people to get on board and they're like, I listen to it and you talk too fast. Really, I talk too fast. How the hell else am I supposed to cram all of this into a small 3-hour window? Dude, there's no script. I just go over this shit on the fly. It makes me laugh. If it doesn't make you laugh, turn the fucking station. And by turn the station, I mean turn the wheel of your car right into a guardrail. Jesus fuck. Hey, where are you going, boy?